Okay, we're gonna call the subcommittee meeting to order at 5:38. A roll call, subcommittee members present, myself, Judy Ferguson, William Perez, and Ray Warman. Mario is out of town. So additions, I guess we'll add on here. Let's talk about. Town is still negotiating contract. We're going to talk a little bit more about potential benefactors of last year's and then this year's
Talking about sponsors?
benefactors of the money we have.
Oh, okay.
Benefactors. And at this point, I don't think there's much more to do. Once we get, we can talk about sponsorship a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about sponsorship levels. So you have something to bring to the committee. You guys have anything else you want to try to hatch out in this? We have actually some time, so we'll start going. If we need to add more, we'll add more. I got an email today from Isle that Ruben's the race guy, his wife just had a baby, so I think he's been a little behind in responding to the city attorney, the town's attorney, and fixing the little updates they need to make to get it ironed out and get that contract ready for us. We are locked in still for December 9th, as far as I know.
So the contract is
Pending. I've been working on the sidelines, just vetting out.
But the
more.
contractor indicated he could do it for that day?
Yeah, the date
Okay.
is clear. The date
Okay.
everybody has cleared. The town's clear too, right, for the date?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're definitely on for that date. And also have confirmed the Highly Barnes marching band return. They did such a fantastic job.
They did awesome.
They're doing it again. And, let's talk about benefactors. So I spent some time on a call with a nonprofit called Wear Blue. Have you heard of them?
No.
They have a chapter in Key Largo, they have a chapter in Tampa, and then there are other states too. And they are, I wish I had their PowerPoint, I'm waiting for them to send it, but they provide support to Gold Star families. And they started as like a Saturday run group, and it's like a lot of Gold Star, wives, Gold Star kids, and they would run on Saturdays and just be there for each other, lift each other up.
How many Gold Star families are there that they support? It can't be that many.
Well, I mean, that includes suicides and,
Oh, so people who die.
yeah, died in action or suicides or died in training.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's more expensive than died in that.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's, and I don't know if there's even a fit, but I would, if nothing else, to introduce them to our group. They're gonna speak to their chapter that's in Key Largo, their chair, Key Largo will potentially come up, we'll give them a booth, at least maybe they can expand to Miami Lakes or to our community. It sounds like a great group of people.
Well, we do have that one family who lost that Marine maniacs. The previous assault, yeah, the previous assault vehicle thing, and they died in the Ostrowskis. Yeah, so.
And then there was another outfit that I felt a little more relevance that we could actually, talk about with our committee and see if they would like to, vote on it. And it
Are you
was,
talking about the proceeds from the last one?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then to start working on this one.
I got an idea for the new one, but I just need to get the first one cleared up.
Yes,
So this thing's called Combat Veterans Outdoors. Did I talk to you guys about Combat Veterans Outdoors? And the gentleman that runs it is a game warden for Texas, and they're on this like 5 million acre lake in Texas. So the veterans, it's got to be combat veterans. They've got to be, verified from been in combat. Doesn't matter when. And they come out. It's like a three night thing. They get fishing gear. They have a fishing guide. They have night, at the campfire dinners. It's all catered.
right.
And I know somebody personally that went to it,
Yeah.
and he went in Desert Storm, and he just says that that all these veterans come together and they come quietly at first, right? And then all of a sudden, everybody's sharing stories. People are sharing stories they've never shared before, and they're with all these strangers, and it just becomes such a brothership and such a beautiful thing. And you know, they open up and it's.
Where is it in Texas?
I've got that. It's.
Sounds pretty good.
It's really nice. I mean, it's not here, but we can send people there.
That's what I think we should. Yeah, we'll sponsor folks.
Right, we got, so the thing is that we need to find the folks that we're gonna send, which have to be obviously,
They have to
Yeah,
have a
that combat.
combat, they have to have a combat infantry badge
yeah,
if they're in the army, or they have to have a combat action ribbon if they're in the Navy, Marine Corps. That's not hard to figure out.
okay. I mean, this
Um,
looks like a really.
Probably
nice
most
thing.
Air Force folks are not eligible because
What about, just curiosity, what about, let's see the military, for example. Suppose you're a military guy, you're stationed on a fire support base. And they bomb the shit out of you while you're there, you know, some people got hurt, but you never got a combat infantry badge. But you're in as much danger as anybody else around. I mean, we're excluding those people.
Well, it's only be like 5 people or 10
You
people.
see what I'm saying? I mean, it's.
Or 50.
I'm not sure if you got shelled at a forward operating base and you were able to return fire, normally you will be eligible for a combat infantry badge or for a combat action.
I never got a combat infantry badge.
Oh, you were a fire support base and you got shelled?
Yeah, many times.
Oh, well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, did you return fire?
No, I never shot right.
Oh, that's probably the part of this.
I forget hid in the bunker.
Well, that's the part you missed.
So we never really got a good solution from Gary.
Yeah.
Or from Pedro for the, I only said it 10 times a day. The Legion, the American Legion, we were kind of waiting for a proposal to try to.
It sounds, I'll be honest with you, being the vice commander on stuff. They seem to have, Pedro does a great job of getting different.
So they don't need anything. They don't, there's no-
Every time I turn around, there's an event we're throwing on and we have tons of
Okay.
sponsors. And so the question becomes, can we use it for something different? Can we do something else? I don't know, Larry, what do you think? You're a vice commander on there. I mean, to me, it sounds like the dance card is kind of full. We're doing quite a bit of stuff. What do you think? I mean, I don't want to just, our accounts last, we have this event coming up and Pedro and they already lined up like 3 sponsors and it's sponsored part by another hospice group. I guess
Eventually.
but eventually, right? But it's just, and so I've just never seen the lack of sponsorship in any of our events.
It's just an idea, it's local, I know.
I'm liking this thing in Texas with the combat folks.
So they have a cooking team that comes in, makes beautiful lunch, breakfast and dinner. They hang out, relax, they unwind, recharge. They come with in one way and leave with a different perspective.
Yeah.
They're all mixes of people with PTSD, survivor guilt, it's ADA friendly. So there's fishing.
You've actually got the group to.
Yeah, no, they're for sure. And I have the guy.
Is there a
as long as I know my
501, are
husband.
there a 501
Yeah,
secret?
yes.
Okay, then they're good to go. So here, I already know, there's a guy who showed up to the Legion. Who's a Bronze Star winner, who's a combat action winner as well.
Bronze Star Achievement or Bronze Star Valor.
No Valor, I think, Well, you got a combat action.
I got 3 of them, Service Achievement Valor.
Yeah. Well, okay, they got the Valor, they got the Meritorious Achievement, but he has a combat action as well, and which is like your combat infantry badge when you're armed. But I know another guy who was infantry guy in the Marines as well.
What do we take the guys, the eligible people?
I bet you we will have about 5 or 6 guys.
We find out,
That's perfect, because I
How do we
think we have
find that?
enough money for about 10.
how do we find out who's eligible for it? And then we can put them all together and decide.
Well, easily we just get a copy of their DD-242.
How do we know who to reach out?
Well, I know, one we'll do through the Legion, and I'm sure we have connections, people who know people. And I bet you if we just find one of those young guys that came one time in Afghanistan, Iraq now, they're gonna know more people who are just, in their thirties and, maybe early forties, and they're just too busy with kids and too busy with this and too busy with that. And this will be a nice break for them if they can get away.
That's another thing, they told me, it's once you start finding people to find it, because everyone's gonna agree on a date,
Yeah,
and it's gotta, agree with their schedule at Tech in
Mhm.
Texas. You fly to Dallas, so the flight's to Dallas, and then
Yeah.
they pick them up from the airport, I mean, they don't do anything, you show up, they give them tackle, they give them gear, they give them stuff to keep.
yeah.
It's, and they have.
And then another thing we
Yeah.
can do is we have connection with the VA. We can reach out to our VA connection from the Legion and see if, they give any more expansive, if we can't find some people from Miami Lakes,
So in other words, if we contact the VA, and ask for them to give us information on.
Well, let's see if we can first work it through the Legion, so that way we can make sure we get people from Miami Lakes, PSN, local folks who are part of our Legion. But, and then we'll go from there. But I have a feeling we can probably find 3 or 4 guys.
I mean, I think we're gonna have budget with the proceeds from 2022. For maybe 8 to 10, it depends on airfare and how much it is. I think that's the only X factor, the rest, I mean, it's about $1,000 a person, that's without airfare, and that covers everything.
Yeah, I think, and especially because I like the concept, because I know, because I have a combat action with it. From Iraq. And so I know that the only person I have an easy time talking to about that stuff is a friend of mine who I've known since I was in high school, who's a retired lieutenant colonel, who has a combat action with him from the Gulf War. And because otherwise you don't really understand what it is to be shot at and then shoot back, and then kind of walk to wherever the area that you just destroy, you know what I mean? And so it's, you don't really end up talking about those things.
There's Vietnam guys that start talking from, they've never spoken.
Oh, that's because no one really understands. Yeah,
No, we don't talk.
I mean, really,
To begin with, we don't
it's-
talk, so.
no one really understands, It's like, why waste your time talking to people who don't really understand? So I think that's a fantastic thing.
Okay, so we'll.
What's it called?
It's called Combat Veterans Outdoors. Our mission is to help strengthen the veterans' self-worth, enjoy the outdoors, and help other veterans in the process.
So reframe the outdoors as to something nicer. They've always been outdoors, they've just been sucking.
It's a full lodge, like with a pool table, and they
Oh.
serve beer.
Oh, they got a bigger.
It's not outdoors.
It's no, they're gonna be in everything and nice, they're gonna be campfire time and fishing time, and you arrive Thursday and leave Sunday.
Awesome.
It's a nice few days, so. I'll send you
Can't wait to do it.
the.
Tony with me. You got 2 people. If I'm allowed to do it.
For all guys.
Yeah, we don't have many. I don't think we have as many as people think. Because I remember Tim Talbert tried to do a special parking spaces for park recipients. We only had 1 in town. And I think that person's passed.
I'm trying to think what the natural progression of this would be. So whatever recommendation you guys take from here to the main committee,
Mhm.
or whatever they decide, if it's this combat veterans outdoors. I remember we have to go back to council.
Yeah, what we'll do is I'll draft, I think the thing that'll move the action forward, forcing action, we call it, is I'll draft a memo. Saying that we looked at this, I'll get your information, make it as an attachment for the enclosure.
Oh. Goodness gracious.
We're not paying the electric
Is it
bill?
on a sensor, which is still?
No, that's
That's the generator.
that is the Miami Town Hall.
We have a separate generator. Is that the generator kicking in? But anyway, so, and then I'll just send it, I'll give it to you and then we'll forward it, put it on the agenda, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I'm a great believer in forcing action, and anything that makes people take action is a paper request of some sort. Emails don't do the action. Huh?
Make sure the meeting was still up. We're good.
Yeah.
Right, I just wanted to. I lost my train of thought.
That's okay, we talked about bringing to the
Right.
committee how to formally do this.
Right.
So we can bring it to this committee coming up today now.
Right,
We have
well,
one.
then, yeah,
And then as soon as we can to bring it to the council.
When's
Yeah.
next council meeting?
That was June 6th, I think.
Council.
forward me all the information,
I will.
and then I'll draft it.
Because the money,
I'll draft the memo, and then
we went to council and said, we're looking at which veteran, which organization or which program we want to get money to. And now we bring the recommendation back.
So you want to talk about this year's, while we're talking about this?
Well, you had an idea, Larry, what do you wanna do? That's been red fire.
I think that I think that we need to look at. Step back from it and say, what can we possibly do? A little bit of money we raise, let's say we raise $50, whatever, what can we possibly do with that? Where we can get the most bang for our buck? Where would it go? And I'm an advocate for awareness. I think awareness is a big thing. And, positive awareness, especially the younger kids, because they have a negative outlook at the military. They're not joining the military. They're hurting for whatever. Military people are getting very little respect. It's almost like when I was in Vietnam. We got pushback. I mean, people didn't like us because we were soldiers. I mean, the first thing I did when I got back from Vietnam, was throw my uniform in the trash can, buy a set of jeans. That's how embarrassed people would wear the uniform. How embarrassing it was. And it hurt. I mean, a lot of guys, your grandfather was a World War I, your father was a World War II. Here you are, really proud, thinking you're doing something good, serving your country. And all of a sudden, you're like, you're a bum. Look what you're doing.
All right, so what do you recommend?
You're a Democrat.
What do you recommend?
Something in awareness, something that brings about awareness, it'll be positive.
Well, I mean, you know this, and I'm working on, and I was gonna do it this week. In fact, I'll probably do it tomorrow. And I talked to the Hialeah Council people and Miami Lakes Council, and I want to bring something called a veteran story out. Where, yeah, and because every time when I did the career days with the kids, then I put it's on my Facebook, and the kids are just running around me, and everyone was, they're like, little kids would come up and just like hug my leg.
Yeah.
And that passed out flags, and we talked about stuff, and they want to know how many sea monsters I saw.
They
And then we talked about what the flag meant, and the colors and the stars and stuff like that, and then we talked about. I talked about the Marine Corps emblem, what it represents and stuff, and I can do that with the Army emblem, I can do that with the Navy emblem, I can do it with the Coast Guard emblem, it's not hard to figure out. And then the other thing was to read a story, just any book that shows teamwork and overcoming a challenge, without any kind of political indoctrination, just friendship, teamwork, and overcoming a challenge, which is really what the military is all about.
What if we
already
took
have
funds to
those
sponsor
books,
it,
Joey?
Bill? What if we took funds to sponsor what you're doing and back it up with some tangible things?
Well, I mean, that was the kind of things that, one of the things I was gonna do was, first I gotta put this organization together, which isn't hard. I got the articles with the corporation and 501c3, I've done that before with other things. I did it with the Veterans Treatment Court in Hawaii. But, once I do that, I do like to give out little flags,
it's good.
little service stickers, they go crazy. Afterwards, I had every kid goes, I'm gonna carry this in my class. When we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I have my own flag, and I was like, well, and I think that's where you start, and second, third graders and the teachers love it, and I want to get the American Legion folks involved. Or, not everybody has their own uniform, you threw yours away in the garbage, I mean, but you can wear your American Legion shirt, and you go there. And you teach them a little bit about civics, you teach them a little bit about the Constitution, separation of powers, and give them nice little stickers for each military service, the branch, like I'll probably give them the Marine Corps with the, you go up and anchor and talk about that, they'll be looking at it, they'll be all excited. Doesn't matter if they throw it in the garbage later, but they'll be all excited for the moment. And then we read a book, and I also like to expand it where one day we're reading a book, but one day I'm teaching them by saying one of those old patriotic songs. When I went to elementary school here at MLK Elementary School, every single teacher was either married to a veteran or was a veteran themselves. And every July 4th, we sang, we did the show, the whole litany of songs, all of Gershwin and all of, all the patriotic songs, God Bless America, America the Beautiful, and all that stuff.
Bandy and all that.
All that. I still know all the words.
We said, we said the pledge of allegiance, and we sang God Bless America every day.
And all that stuff.
We put it-
And now most of the kids don't know any of those songs. And those are actually beautiful songs. Most of them were written during World War I, World War II, those patriotic songs. And it'll be kind of neat because kids love to sing. Just to teach a song or two. Like one day we read a book, next 1 week we're reading a book, the next week we're learning a song. The next week, we're reading, more of that.
What if we use the funds under that theme and somehow to fund what you're talking about, more tangible items, maybe offer them a lunch, use it to promote awareness.
I mean, that's a good, we have a few issues to consider. One, luckily I have friends who want to start this up. And because I was thinking about this and I go, I don't want to create conflict of interest. And I would always abstain from voting on it if it involved the organization. But I also don't want to put my name on that organization necessarily as a board director, maybe as an advisor. Because I have friends who are really interested and they want to do some major fundraising for it. But I will tell you, if I don't have to buy flags, that'll be wonderful. If I don't have to, go and, track down a bunch of stickers and stuff like that, that'll be wonderful too. And
How
stuff like
quick
that.
is this 501c3 be up and running and named so we can name it and call it and not get blamed for the not bringing enough runners because we don't have something named?
Now that I have a deadline, I can do it pretty quick. I mean, I can probably get the name and stuff like that and incorporate it in about the end of June. And hopefully a 501c3 and an EIN and an account.
Okay.
So,
That could
I
be.
want to
that
work
could
on,
be
I want to
2021.
work on a few ways this year. I just cracked a little bit last year.
but I gotta tell you, I don't think, you guys raised way more money than that thing would ever be able to
Judy's
do.
raised some money.
Well,
I'm ready. I'm not gonna do it until we have the contract signed.
yeah.
So we'll get the contract signed and then
I mean, but then again, I've never done one of these. So I don't know, maybe I see people to do promotions, maybe I set up a website,
you need a website.
and I have to have a social media presence.
Oh.
I have no idea about that, what the hell that means.
It's all artificial.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, I just opened that.
Holy cow, that's-
But there's a lot.
Well, so there you go. So I mean, I'm thinking about, focusing little flags and.
I love your
And
idea. I think
stickers.
your idea will hit on the bottom, especially that.
Well, the council loved it, and I gotta tell you, the Hialeah Council, the one councilwoman says, when you have that all set up, come and present it.
Yeah.
We want to do it in Hialeah too.
Okay.
And it's because they're realizing that folks,
Flags on.
yeah. They're realizing that folks are not getting the civics lessons that they used to have because the folks who used to teach it. There's nobody has military connection anymore.
You got a whole different set of people out there in the school system right now.
Mhm.
They're the woke crowd.
Oh,
And
God.
they're like, they're anti-police or anti-military. It's a whole different crowd out there. They're not teaching the.
So, I'll tell you, Larry, every time I go to the school and I do the career day. My classroom is packed with kids and packed with more teachers. There's, I think, this, yeah, I'm curious. But and I'm in uniform, so but it's, and I didn't run into it like a wolf crowd, and they love it. They go, wish we would have more of this because they don't know it.
They've
It's
never
not, it's
heard
not, it's not, it's because they don't know what to do. It's not a lack of will, it's just a lack of knowledge. But so what we have to do as veterans and as a veteran committee, I think, is step into that void that now exists. If we don't teach civics and patriotism, then we're basically devaluing our service and our sacrifice. It's gotten to the point where people who are considered heroes who are victims. Oh, you're a morbidly obese. Well, not really. You're a hero. Having to overcome that. No, not really. Eat one less sandwich. Try to exercise or something. I mean, we have convoluted and conflated heroism and victimhood. And heroism has always been about doing something selfless for others. And victimhood is just, the poor person has whatever illness or disease they have to deal with.
Right, they're the first responders that ran into the building. on 9/11.
Exactly right.
Then there
Not,
were
they're not the people who were killed in 9/11. They were all victims. But we, when you see the 9/11 ceremonies, that's a really good example. You see everyone goes, this person's my hero. And I'm like, no, he wasn't a first responder. He was just a poor person who was at the wrong place at the wrong time and died. That person's a victim. That's not a hero.
Ran into those.
Those are heroes. But you cannot say that anymore because they have redefined what it means to be a hero. And now everyone's a hero. Everyone's a victim. Everyone's whatever, self-identifying heroes, right? So, and I think it's important for us veterans to kind of teach everybody what it really means. That's one of the reasons why I'm having folks read Medal of Honor citations at this
I
point.
love that idea. You come up with some good idea. That's another good one.
You
I
know,
think that's will be very effective.
yeah, I have great ideas.
You heard that said place no speaker? In case of, in place
And
of.
play mosquito speaker,
He's gonna have different guys from different, branches of the military read a medalist honor citations.
which is the highest medal you could get, Congressional Medal of Honor. And it's gonna be for guys who died earning the medal. And I gotta tell you, when you hear some of these, you're
It's
like,
about each person,
yes.
okay.
So so each branch, I'm gonna have one for the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, the Marines, and these persons have obviously they died earning the medal. And there is no space, they don't have any space.
Yeah,
for
we
it.
had afterwards.
No, but they don't have a Medal of Honor, they didn't get a Congressional Medal of Honor.
Bill, respectfully.
Yeah.
If we want to keep that discussion for the main committee,
Well, that's a good point,
if we.
because that's the main committee stuff, we have to,
Just so
we
can-
have
just so we can
digressed.
condense on the-
We have
on the
digressed.
reindeer ones.
Okay, so for next year, my goal is to try to put this thing together. And
Okay, you kind of need to have it put together when we go to press with the.
yes, I gotta have it by June,
Yes.
this month, next month.
What
I
kind of
can do
money
that.
do you think you're talking about?
I have no idea, I'm just thinking flags and stickers, but I mean, that's the thing is, I'm gonna have to. Talk to people who know things like duty,
You have to have more than flags and stickers, you're gonna have events, you're gonna have these classrooms, your main mission's gonna do these classrooms with
Yeah.
kids. You're going to have probably a larger type of thing where you're gonna go to a large group of people and do the same thing, but in bigger scale, I see this scaling up. So you're gonna.
I agree, I mean, but again,
Helicopter land is school.
Okay, let's keep going. Now we're going crazy.
So what we can do is, when we have the next meeting, we can see again.
it's a go weird on this.
Wear blue, that was one of them, right?
We're going to invite them to just be one of our, because we have the, opportunity for them.
And combat veteran outdoor,
Okay, so that was at the actual event. Okay,
This.
Yeah, wear blue, I think.
so for the actual beneficiaries, where it's combat veterans outdoor.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a really good
And
one.
then this awareness campaign sort of.
Yes.
You checked as far as with the combat veteran, what percentage of the money actually goes to
You guys
that?
don't take any money.
There's
Like,
no
this guy
administrative.
doesn't get any money at all.
They cover the
Like,
cost,
yeah.
yeah.
They don't, they have, and they also have, sponsors that bring the food, like, it's heavily sponsored and, no, they're
I
not like.
bet you they insert social workers in the group to facilitate discussion.
We'll bring those to the.
Many, yes,
Going back to the one, location, San West,
yes,
Yes.
same,
the time, the date is that a Saturday?
yes.
Saturday night.
Saturday night starts at, run at 8.
Let's get back to the agenda. Public comments, any public comments, anyone? Anyone? No public comments.
We have,
New business.
at this time, we need to talk about vendors and other people that want to be here.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Sponsorship levels, I wanted to just get some of that out and see what you guys think. So we had I had a sweat 440 and I had, what was the CrossFit people, Caution CrossFit. And he was a little aggravated because he wanted to have the warm up and then he didn't commit. So 440 committed and they got the warm up. So I want to have different. We're gonna price them different and
Right.
offer them at the same time out.
Just for a little. This context, Al and I were really crunching down on sponsorship packets. Because like as specific as we can get, we want to instead of just. Eliminating choices or eliminating benefits as you go down. We really want to, maybe you'll get a mention on specifically the calendar, if you don't pay that much, or if you pay a lot, you'll get every social media,
Okay, well, we'll
I
stand
like
for you guys.
but even something like that, like we really, and the veterans, the 5K is actually probably not an example of what I'm talking about now, but we want our events to have like great visibility for our sponsor. So, for example, and again, the veterans kind of don't suffer from this issue, but for the health and wellness director, for the elderly affairs committee, the tables, that was the visibility. So it made it very easy to highlight and, do these reviews of these events, we have a photo of, if we have a photo of Judy with your headquarters Toyota Polo interacting with a runner or, something like that, it makes a very natural sort of, highlight. So we want to have these very beautiful, visible sponsors. And again, the 5K did have that.
And we also talked about we're gonna decorate
And
the
the
finish line this
The
time.
finish line being decorated, we did talk about that in the meeting with Ruben, just so we have, instead of, because what it comes down to really, specifically with other events and committees, I won't throw any under the bus, but it becomes, okay, we need to do a highlight post because their logo was promised on a social media post, but if the sponsor isn't as involved, they're really just paying X amount of money to be sponsored
Right,
on our Instagram, which is like fine if that's what we're promised then, but I don't think we should. So it should be the natural promotion because we want to see the sponsors there. And again, the 5K is great because we have all that and we're gonna start.
can we share an album with me to see how much we got from, it was Jared that was out there taking.
Jacob.
He was-
We'll go back and see what we have because something like that is, when we have beautiful photos from last year,
Sell that.
it becomes
Yes.
the natural promotion for this year,
No, I mean, that's what she's saying, is that way
Right.
she can have that,
Mhm.
and then she can show the sponsors.
And say, look,
Right.
here's
Yeah.
part of your promotion for this year, on your own logo, but now we have this and this and.
Finish line.
So-
Yeah.
Outside. They had a media council, they had to bring it outside.
I think the marketing console was more for like an internal review.
Story out.
Department to see,
Oh, we spoke it out,
maybe,
because that,
some like we had, some of this this area, or I don't think we've talked about.
10 minutes of viewing.
outsourcing it.
From the research that I did, and what you guys did, it was pretty much the same as what would be done if you outsourced.
Mm.
But my understanding was, did have a meeting, that Tony Ferguson, Hernandez made a motion to outsource that, and it was voted yes.
He had it was a business item for the council. It was to, implore staff to look into perhaps getting a marketing consultant, but that's
Yeah.
more of a review of the department, not, saying let's get a marketing person and outsource it. It was more, it was Councilman Fernandez saying, let's review the department and see how we can improve it. It was sort of,
Because last year we scrambled with this.
we scrambled, and I will say, if I may, a lot of the information that we would have gotten from a natural lead up to, maybe a week before the ticket sales would grow exponentially, we kind of lost, and it's not a bad thing per se, it's just, notes for this year. We lost the information on, the natural lead up because we kept dropping prices and coupon codes, and then, okay, now it's free for, we sort of scrambled last minute, so we know how to do it better. But again, last year.
We scrambled last minute because we were slow in getting it started. This year, we're starting early.
Right, that is,
Tonight, and the idea is to put the plan in place right now,
right,
how we're gonna promote this.
Right.
And start with it.
we didn't have time, which I'm glad that we started this in March actually, which is beautiful. Last year we started in September, which is, or the promotion part in September, but even then we didn't have the beneficiary, so we lost networks in that sense, and so now that we're establishing it now, it's gonna make it like it's going to make it so much better.
Judy, what's in plan right now to start promoting this? I mean, you have any ideas on it?
We talked about putting a significant budget towards the social company, like you started doing last year, that we didn't do it. But we need like to put a $1,500 budget or whatever, it is, we need to vote on that. Or is it just,
Well, they're talking about the town voted on. Fernandez brought up a motion to vote on outsourcing this. And Jonathan mentioned that they're gonna handle it within house, but in whichever way we handle it, the idea is to start.
I just want to be very clear with what the item was, because it wasn't to outsource anything. It was for an external person to come in and review the department. It wasn't outsourcing any, promotion
Is that taking
or.
place?
That's what taking place.
the person.
No, because then that's shopping a contract with. you
So you're
know,
basically an external audit. You're trying to get.
Essentially.
Yeah, okay.
See what we can improve, but at that, we're not outsourcing any sort of.
We talked about setting money aside in the budget for the purposes of hiring outside promotion. Or for promotion.
Mm.
In other words, for you, the extra money you would need.
We want to throw it out on Facebook.
So you got a number for that? What we'll need to.
What did you guys do last year? 1,500? I think
If
if we wanted,
That gonna be enough?
yeah, it absolutely could, but again, it comes down to, we lost a lot of information on what we, what. It was 15.
And he actually did extra because it was a mistake and then we did it again, so we got extra boost or whatever. I don't know.
I think I would say,
I have to get the others. Like, I think I have them. You can have them, but I really, there are companies that just do that. The one you found, like, we didn't, I know, I would like to make sure we find something that we know that's vetted and that somebody else has used. So I think that's something you could do is maybe you can go and try to find us a legitimate company that's what they do.
well,
Or are you opposed to that?
you know, I mean, look, whoever wants to promote it.
You guys
The
will
more
still
the
do your
merrier.
town stuff.
No, yeah,
And you'll
absolutely.
still-
yeah,
and
we'll
now
have
we have
our
a
networks.
database of our runners too that we're.
We have runners, we have, again, our beautiful highlight photos, which is a lot better than posting, because we had a beautiful graphic, of course, but you post that so many times and it's. If people, their eyes gloss over it. So now we have our beautiful photos, we have the runner, the database. I know Ruben spoke about that. I don't know if it's-
Do we have any video of the band playing, the marching band?
we have video, we have the star, we're getting very visual. And
Okay.
that helps a lot with the promotion. So in terms of when it starts, I think it really can start once, because I mean, the contract is essentially done, we're just, nitpicking certain words back and forth with our lawyer, and you know how that goes. So now, once we have the date set in stone and we have the front end of the website, that we can start saying, okay, here's the website, and then we keep updating with sponsors. I don't know when we'll have the website, because again, I think that is when we can jump off the.
I told him I wanted immediately, once we sign the
Right.
contract, we need the website, that's part. that
But
has
once
to
we
be
have,
in the
I
contract.
think once we have the website, that's when we can throw it on the calendar, and we start I won't get too much.
Can we start? We have the email addresses for everybody around.
I wouldn't run it until we have a contract.
Until we have a contract and the new front end and the new website, so I wouldn't, just because
And then we can start with.
And we are
email.
better factor to get this.
it would be, that would be as good as a calendar placeholder, which, nobody's gonna.
I'm gonna be realistic, it probably sounds like July 1st will be really. hard.
That'd be great, and then we can throw it in, our newsletters and. Our
July 1st is when we launch the,
Everything, that's go live, everything, that is the goal.
so
Yeah.
July 1st
I-
launch.
well, really, as soon as possible, but I think July, we should have a contract. But
Launch ad campaign.
So let's.
So let's talk about the sponsorship level.
Yeah, so can you put that in the notes from you and Kyle are talking about all the little teeny little things that we're gonna do for each sponsor. I'd like to talk about a warm-up sponsor, I'd like to talk about the video sponsor again, and if we can do a better job with the video. I know it.
Yeah, we had another scramble last minute, like scheduling with
We
them.
need that video, and you know what, we can even tell them we'll get the video out more than once.
Well, and we could, so if we wanted to, we could, film that probably in August or September, just so we're not, a week before scrambling to get a video.
Can we do the video? Can you send Jacob there and if, let's say that Caution wants the video. He can go over to Caution, get some footage of the gym, and then mix it up with some of the footage from last year's, run, whatever the sponsor, we'll give the sponsor some parameters to let them say, well, I'd rather have
No,
this or that.
yeah, we want to be very visual, so
Sponsor
even
friendly.
more. Necessary context, last council meeting, I believe a week ago now, whatever, May 9th. I presented to the council on behalf of the department on, how we communicate for the town. We basically got to the point that it's very visual. You want Instagram, you want some videos, you want some pictures, not flyers, and very boring static things. So hopefully, and I hope I'm not stepping over any, my boss or my, town manager, but we're gonna request money for not professional equipment, but not Jacob bringing his own personal camera.
That camera he takes to the thing is not the town's?
No, it's his,
Oh,
which, it's great for getting the product, but it probably shouldn't be like that. So we're gonna request money for proper equipment, so we can go take videos.
is he the qualified person? No, he's good, right? Like he.
Him and I both do photography,
Okay,
he
cool.
just has a camera.
Okay.
What time does our run start?
Eight,
Early?
probably. Oh, 800.
Either 8 or 9.
No, it's 8.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that.
I know we were gonna talk about, getting the restaurants to have like come eat here after. That
Yeah.
was a great idea for sponsorship, so I'd like to put that in our offering.
Okay.
Like if they have like a little discount, you know what I'm talking about?
A discount, yes, because seeing if we can add that, because if we just say, if we have it in mentions, like, it's gonna be hard to get people from Veterans Park.
Because everyone
But
left,
realistically,
and
it's
this the
exciting.
great band,
Slip inside their package pickup, it's gonna have.
Yeah, a little
whatever,
swag bag that's gonna have here, you can get it at the Bears,
$10 off or whatever we can.
$1 off Bears Cafe.
Yeah, $1 off,
There's like anticlimactic to finish
it's
this.
like everybody leaves.
Everyone left.
Everyone left.
I was having breakfast, I was starving, and then I found out I won.
Yeah, it's not-
And they had to come back.
We're not having a stage, we're cutting out all those expenses, we're gonna do everything at the finish line with
Yeah.
with Ruben, we're gonna use his equipment, we're not gonna have to rent any sound system, or any of that.
Right, in the meeting, we talked about cutting down on the amount of trophies.
Yeah, the trophies is way.
That was another thing
trophies
where it
stand
was,
would be Way shorter.
it was a half-hour ceremony and people were
Not there.
choosing.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's all like,
Are we grading larger age groups?
I think
How are we gonna cut down by
we
trophy?
made it a little broader, we made it a broader selection. Yeah,
My first and only.
I have no-
We kept going back and forth on ages, groups, sexes, like I'd have to go back to that video, but.
So we have about 11 minutes left until our committee starts. Yeah,
We should have, when we're out listening, Judy, we should have a business card, something that says, hey, I'm so-and-so here, and here's my phone number. Something, maybe one of those deals, like, my kids have these business cards and have a little thing with your phone.
QR code.
You
Do you guys have a QR code generator?
Yeah.
So maybe you can make us a QR code and we can just have that, you just have it, say here, hit it, and they just hit it.
Yeah,
And what would that bring into? 'Cause
That
I-
would
if it-
probably bring them to our site,
that'd be great for, but I want everything to be digital now.
put it in the.
As
flyers,
much
put it
as,
everywhere. Yeah.
much as it's realistic.
Can we talk
And
about,
the
you know,
flyer,
besides, wait, we doing the sponsorship stuff?
Yeah.
Because last year, we had a few groups that ran for free. And so I want to throw this out there. I'd like to be able to invite recruits in the pool league. The pool, before they ship to become recruits in the service, they're called pool leagues. They're part of the recruit pool. And basically, the pool has actually gotten way bigger because so many of the kids now are overweight and obese. So it's taking them longer to drop the weight. The recruiters have to work with them to drop weight to be able to ship. You know?
Perfect.
So I like to be able to go to recruiters and say, hey, we're doing this. You guys want to set up a stand, table, whatever, and have your recruit poolies run it? It's on the house.
Yeah.
And I also know some folks who run junior ROTC, which is high school,
Mhm.
Navy junior ROTC. And I like to see if I'm allowed to invite them to run on the house as well.
Yes, 100%, and I want a couple of groups of kids clubs in the schools to run it for free. These are the kids that promoted
Yeah.
it first last year. I already talked to Moritz about it, he's already on board. As soon as I give him the go ahead, he's gonna put it out to because the students don't have any money.
Right.
And that's fine, we'll have enough with families, we're not gonna go into crazy town discounting again, we've started.
again, that was.
Well, I think, folks who, especially the poolies, they're trying to get into the service. And the junior ROTC, although it's, kind of like the Young Marines, and how many people in Young Marines actually join it, maybe 2%.
That's it?
3%. Yeah, but we it's probably because I'm evil. But we transfer their, we change their lives, completely, so. With the junior ROTC, they actually have them, actually, when I think about it. They have quite a few people go, listed like 5, but most of them would become officers. So I think, they probably have a good 10% of their core cadets who go in to become officers. Which is actually quite substantial. If you think about how we're doing recruiting nowadays, to get like in this core cadet, if I'm thinking about it, my friends, he has 150. So 15 going in as officers, that's a pretty big deal, so.
Like, wonderful pets, but they're not,
We should
I
do that.
just happen to get lucky.
So anyway, I'd like to throw that out there and get permission to do
Yes.
that, so I can invite these folks.
There's plenty of room, we're gonna have plenty of room. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty earmarked, pretty earmarked, good.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you.
Hey, how are you?
I will.
Hi, Judy. Good, thank you. How you doing?
Great.
Great. Oh, wow. Okay. Have you been on your vacation or are you going somewhere? Oh, you're working.
Yeah, I'm doing-
So, anything else on the subcommittee?
No, I think that's it, what do you think? What do you want? What else?
Maybe we'll talk to our committee about how many, if they're comfortable with, opening up how many comps we're gonna do, and that's kind of premature today, but we at least bring it out so everybody talks about it, and then we can bring it to a vote in the next.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, we can figure out what type of organization. we want.
Okay.
And I think it should be, like I said, those who have some kind of military affiliation, recruit foods. And do ROTC books and stuff like that.
Okay, I love it. Okay. Old people and a few people from the school volunteers. And that'll do it, yep.
Sure.
Oh, yes, adjourn the meeting at 6:24. Thank you.
Okay, meeting will come to order, time is 18:32. Okay, Mr. Secretary, please do roll call.
Wayne Perez,
Present.
Larry Borman. Eric Cardenas. Here. Michael Coop, here. Nicole Ortiz.
Here.
Judy Parkasero.
Here.
Mario Chavez.
He's out of town.
Pedro Faul.
He's also out of town.
Edward Paez. Here.
Yeah, Pedro, out of town, he's North Carolina. We have quorum?
We do have quorum.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise, move your covers, pledge allegiance in a moment. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, everyone, great to see everybody. I had a wonderful vacation, if everybody's wondering. If you're my Facebook buddy, then you know exactly where it is. Okay, we have any public comments? No public comments, in order of business, do we have any additions, deferrals, or deletions? I think you wanted to add, Judy, I don't know if it's on here, okay, it is. Proceeds allocations, and we can talk about that. Those two organizations was Combat Veterans Outdoor, correct?
Mhm.
Or that one organization? All right. All right.
Minutes.
Let's look at the minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Last meeting.
Oh my God.
Very well done, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, very well done. Yeah, I've been paying them extra.
And I've been spending it twice.
Have a motion to approve the minutes.
I will make that motion.
Second.
We can have a vote on the floor. All those who wish to approve the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's talk about the reindeer run subcommittee meeting. We just had it. And I'm gonna only ask Judy while she has food in her mouth to talk about it.
Okay, thanks. So, been working hard to try to find a benefactor for last year's, reindeer run proceeds of about $17,000. And then obviously we need to have, this year's ironed out before we go live. So we have a goal to go live on July 1st. That's our deadline to go live with the 5K. The town is still, going through the contract back and forth with the vendor. I think we're close to finishing, and then we apparently had a new baby, like his wife did, so they got really behind and back and forth with the editing of the contract. So hopefully that gets ironed out this week or next, and we can really get hard with stuff. We don't want to really go to print and go to sponsors and start printing stuff until we have a contract in case this goes. Yeah, we do have December 9th still is our date at 8 a.m. And so I've been looking at different benefactors. I know Gary and everybody was talking going back and forth with the Legion. Seems that the Legion is very well funded right now for its events and its mission goals. So I just kept looking, and I have come in contact with a person that was that went to Iowa, and he personally met. There was this person that was this combat veterans on. And what it entails is you leave on a Thursday, fly to Dallas, and it's Thursday to Sunday, and they outfit the veteran, you have to be proven combat veterans. And, fishing gear, clothes, tackle, and then it's kind of like just a brotherhood kind of weekend. And what I'm told is in these events, there's everything, there's that, Vietnam veterans, there's young, Iraq, Desert Storm stuff. And they start talking about things they know about their lives at this thing. The gentleman that I know that went to Iraq, he's been to 2 of them. He kind of went the second time now, he volunteers, he plays guitar, and they have, it's all catered, so it's well sponsored as well, where there's cooking, every day's different meals, and they have their recreational time at the table. And the Texas Ranger, Texas prison system has like a beautiful, it's like a lodge that's on a lake that's a bazillion acre lake in Texas. So you have all these, I don't know, they're called stripers, they're fishing for people.
Oh,
And they take them out of the lake, and but what happens is that they come quiet and they're laughing and crying in one day, and we just have this weekend, you confess and share and open up, and then they go home and they leave different than when they got there.
and how's your idea to use the money, basically to sponsor?
Yes, so we have our group, they're generally the sweet spot he was telling me is around 8 people. 8 to 10, and it's about $1,000 a person to just cover all the expenses to go. What it actually is including airfare, that's everything,
Yeah.
like, and it's door-to-door service, they come get the airport, they're very special, it's a big deal, it's not just like take it over to where you're going and maybe find a place, no, they're gonna go get everybody, collect everybody and do this thing. They offer like beer, they don't like too much hard alcohol, because people might go crazy.
Yeah.
And they have the pool tables and they have music, and it's the older gentleman he said some of them are really old, they go to bed at 8, and some of the other guys stay up till 11, hanging out, talking, having fun, playing music. So it sounded like a really nice, a nice way to help veterans. Our committee agreed unanimously, so we need to bring it to our full committee here to see what you guys feel about using that, the 17,000 funds, we can easily sponsor 8, it's 1,000, so we're still actually gonna have budget left over. We're gonna have left over likely,
Yeah,
so we're gonna have to,
that's a good start.
so at least we-
And one thing I need to find out is, it's combat veterans, but does that mean campaign ribbon or combat action ribbon? Combat infantry badge, so, you could be, if you earned a campaign ribbon, then you were at least, you were in country. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the things I gotta find out. Well, I'll contact
Yeah,
him. I'll reach out.
he's great.
Yeah, I'll reach out to them to see what they mean, because I know folks that have severe PTSD, or the person I know who has most severe PTSD, believe it or not, was a combat camera person. And what that person's was actually hot, the job that person had was to photograph all remains
Oh, God.
of all military service members when they came into Dover for the Armed Forces Institute of Pathology, so they can determine cause of death as part of the cause of death determination. It's done for everybody. And she was the gunnery sergeant of mine, holy cow. I was a battalion commander, and I had to move heaven and earth to make sure she didn't get court-martialed by some lieutenant colonel who was totally disrespectful to. But I was a battalion commander, so it was up to me, and just get her to retirement was an achievement, But she was hell-bound on self-destruction, and she never even stepped into Iraq. But so PTSD and severity of that depends on the job, depends on the location, depends on what's going on. But I think folks who have campaign ribbons or in country, they usually are folks who had to deal with either the aftermath or ongoing situations, dealing with folks who are in direct combat. And of course, those who have the combat action ribbons, combat infantry badges, have the most things. So we got to find that out. I would like to be more expansive if possible, but I think we actually have enough. We go through the American Legion, Gary. If we go through the Legion, I know we have enough guys in there who have combat infantry badges and combat action ribbons. We'll probably get 8 or 10, especially some of the younger guys that we started to bring in. And they'll probably know people, and then we could probably expand it to the VA, but I'd like to make sure we get the folks who are part of our post first, because even though they're not all Miami Lakers, they all meet in Miami Lakes.
I like that, yeah.
So, and if they don't, they'll probably know somebody. So let me first figure out what combat veteran means. and See if it means combat infantry badge, combat action ribbon, then that narrows the pool, but if it means campaign ribbon, that broadens it quite a bit, so.
It's been going on since 2013.
From the perspective of the Army.
Yeah.
The only people that can get a combat infantry badge are people who serve in an infantry unit.
Yeah.
Okay, in combat. So your engineers, your artillerymen, all those people that come under fire.
Yeah.
Okay, they can't get a CID. Okay, so they can only get that campaign ribbon. Okay, so I would not limit it to CID or.
Well, it's not my organization, I have to see what they say.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that they include campaign.
he said combat vets, that's that.
That's
way.
what
He
he
didn't get
said,
into
combat
detail.
vet, he didn't say, and so,
She
but
thought-
combat vet, I think could include people with campaign ribbons.
Well, and I think they have something now that combat action badge.
Okay.
Like CAB, and so that's covers like support personnel, there's
Okay.
maybe you were a combat private.
Yeah, I would,
And you got hit by an IED.
Yeah,
right.
So they do have a
Yeah.
mechanism now to recognize people in combat other than infantry folks.
So yeah, anyways, it's a 98,000 acre lake,
What's the name of the organization?
Combat Veterans Outdoors. I'll send you guys the link.
Where is it?
It's in Texas, it's by to Dallas,
Well,
and then they take them from Dallas to the facility. It uses the game warden facilities of
public health.
state of Texas.
I know something we haven't spoken and. You're talking about, thank you. Service law. Use service organization to train them and prepare, which is very expensive and time consuming, but it's very rewarding.
Do they have service dogs that are just dedicated to go to our veterans? Do you know that?
It's a train for veterans.
Yeah, but how about people in Miami Lakes, veterans in Miami Lakes?
I don't know. if there's-
Yeah, that's the thing, I mean, we're trying to tie
That-
it right to
yeah,
as
that-
much as possible in Miami Lakes.
To stay here.
Yeah.
And did you happen to vet anything down off the list that you have?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Done it, but I can do it if the decision was done with these people, I can do it. It's a quick process.
Okay, no, because I think we talked at a previous meeting, we were gonna look at.
And I think you guys are gonna whittle down that list in something.
Yeah,
I don't
that was-
We got down to combat veteran outdoors, and they're a 501c3.
Yeah, so that's easy to find.
Yeah, so
What about that? So if we $8,000 or sponsored, but you're thinking maybe we'll sponsor 17 people? We'll
No,
start
they
with-
can only take 8 to 12,
But in other words, multiple iterations?
but it could go, yeah, and it doesn't have to be all our people in that group, it could be, whatever number of our people, and they'll add it to a group, they'll fill the next one with.
Whatever.
Yeah, and I think it's probably ideal, the less people know each other in these things, because I think that's what it's more about too, that they're with people they're not usually with. I think that's part of the chemistry of it making a
In
difference.
that case, you will not, Kansas finding someone who's local.
That sounds like a great
I mean,
organization.
they
Yeah.
start, nobody speaks to anybody, and then in an hour later, they're talking, and then in an hour later, they're laughing, and another hour, they're crying, and then at the end, they're brothers.
What about that Shake a Leg? We've worked with them before, but what's the story with them?
I don't know, I know that they work with,
They
Yeah,
do
Thursday.
here in Miami, they do
get that down in Coconut Grove.
fishing
Yeah.
and sailing and boating and the
Yeah,
same
I
type
I
of
think
same premise.
our ship.
They're primarily.
Peace Out Union, they work with them.
Veterans.
I didn't know whether Shake.
I went to Monty's,
Okay, they have a veterans program now, that's
Right.
different. They started out basically as for youth that were handicapped, and all their sailboats and everything else are set up for handicapped.
Well, yeah.
So but just to be clear, this money is not being donated to combat veterans outdoors. We're
No.
using it
No.
to pay for people.
We're
to go.
sponsoring.
right,
It's
sponsor.
not that you have to be back. It's not what money that we use.
We know exactly what's going.
It's gonna do
That's
that.
going to Miami Lakes folks, and it's paying their expenses. So I like to put a motion on the table to allocate $10,000 of the, or you want to allocate all of it if we want to do multiple trips. Let's do 10 grand and see how it goes. right? Or is it use or lose? If we don't use it, we lose it?
I'm sure it falls under the general carry forward.
You know, that hasn't
Like-
been the case.
Gross.
That hasn't been
gross
the
that-
case. Well, that's the way fiscal.
Who, like,
fiscal-
carry-
No, I
Over
mean,
to this
the
year's?
things that we're allowed to carry forward are donations.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can carry forward into the
I-
2023 proceeds if
I
we.
mean, I can ask, I don't.
Okay. so
Okay.
that's good.
Yeah, let's, I put a motion on the table to allocate 10
Oh, wait,
grand.
we can allocate it all, we can just not use it all.
Yeah, let's
That's
just allocate it
Yeah,
that way.
vote that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we have it all. Yeah, obligated and allocated is always good. Let's obligate the funds that way they can't steal it from us at the end of the school year.
Yeah.
I remember how this worked. That was the federal government.
Picture mode, let's go.
10K
All right.
floor.
Allocate, motion of 17K on the floor to be allocated to sponsor Miami Lakers or individuals connected to Miami Lakes, veterans to attend combat veteran outdoors. Anybody second motion? Motion's up for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried.
And then, not to be, I did speak to another group that I just want to share with the committee. They're called Wear Blue. Has anybody heard of Wear Blue? So it was founded by a couple of Gold Star wives. And Wear Blue.
We're blue.
Wear Blue, Wear Blue. And I'll share their flyer later. I think it's too soon for us to collaborate with them. They have a chapter in Key Largo and then one in Tampa. So that's their Florida presence right now. We're gonna probably give them a booth at our run so that they can maybe open a chapter here. So it's a beautiful organization. They lift up, they don't they give a hand, they don't hand out, and they have a really beautiful thing, and, you know, they help the kids, the Gold Star kids, and it's just, it's unbelievable what they're doing, and so hopefully we'll have a relationship with them, maybe they'll open a chapter here, and we can
Their name is Code Blue.
wear blue.
Wear Blue.
Wear Blue. And I'll send everybody those two links so that everybody can check this stuff out. Pretty meaningful.
And do we know the significance of the Wear Blue?
They started a running club on a Saturday, and it was just like a way to place the space where they could be together and breathe and express how they feel, and, you know, where they're at in life and what happened, and it just grew and grew, and then now it's turned into even more than just a running club, and they have events, they have 10Ks, and it's national now, and it's run by a couple of women that are widows.
Right, thank you. Okay, I gave Jonathan a memo from me to the town clerk, manager, and council dealing with the eligibility of town military banners, the application process. Jonathan, can you please just pass that around so folks can read it? Then take a look and make sure I got all the right language in there too. I think I got the stuff that you wanted to put in there, Ed. In the language of the
Yeah,
eligibility.
as far as the eligibility,
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
pass it around, read it, make sure it's all
that's
in
last meeting,
Yes.
last meeting.
the last meeting. And anyway, so that's basically I call it supporting action. It goes to the town clerk, town manager, town council. And then it's gonna force them to take some kind of action to how do we promulgate these rules? How do we promulgate this process? How do we create a regulatory mechanism to execute this rule? So,
and this is pretty much the way it has been.
well, that's what they say, right? You know, I mean, so,
It was always live, work with them.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so just pass it around if you don't read. So anyway, so I'm just giving that for information. We don't need to vote on it because we already voted on it last time. Moving along to the Memorial Day event. All right, so let me just go over how the event's gonna go, the sequence of events.
If you need to have it.
All right. Right. First thing we're gonna have is the introduction. Basically, the introduction is just gonna be me saying, ladies and gentlemen, ceremony is gonna begin in 5 minutes. Please take your seats. It starts at 11 o'clock, correct?
I believe that's what I have.
That's what we
I
have
have to double check.
Yeah, that's what we have. saw something somewhere.
Yeah, I saw that last.
So,
Yeah, 11
Yeah, 11 a.m. So for setup, we probably need to be there 10 a.m. And I like to have a PA system there early, not at the very last minute. They throw that to Michael every single time. And then every single time, it doesn't freaking work. So I want it there early, so if it doesn't work, I can stab the park recreation guy in the eye.
They've
He
got
makes it work.
coffee and water there for people.
Not
Want
that truck,
coffee or
it's never
water?
ready.
Coffee and water like tea.
Hey,
It's never
you
ready.
gonna take care of that? Thanks, man. Anyway,
I'll bring water. I'll be the water sponsor.
wait a second, if you're gonna have an idea, you better be ready to execute it. my friend.
Judy
This is the
volunteered
way
in
it
water.
goes. You have the idea, you better be ready to execute.
Judy volunteered in water. I'll go buy coffee and down there. I just want to bring it up. and sure.
Good idea. Yeah, thanks, Larry.
Can we vote to approve paying him for the coffee so he doesn't have to pay it out of his
This
pocket?
one doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
allocated towards it.
Fine.
And again, we want to be very careful with how to
That's why
allocate it first.
I'm not asking.
Well,
Two of those things.
well, we can move money from the Arbor Day because we passed that off to the ladies, right? And so we should have money in our coffers from Arbor Day to support the coffee and the light.
The water's donated by him.
$2,000.
Yeah, okay, well, let's, there's a motion on the table to move the money from Arbor Day to the veterans.
We don't need to do it if it's under $750. We don't need to go to town council. We
Right,
can do
you
it
just
ourselves.
vote.
It's
So
$700.
they get 700, motion, on the table to move $700 from the Arbor Day fund into the Memorial Day. Yes, Jonathan.
I would, you want
We
to?
don't need seven. What do we need? $100?
$200. Last year, the donuts and the coffee and then there was a few accoutrements like the bunting.
You paid for it, you never got reimbursed.
But whatever, so I was like about 150.
And what was there a dollar count for the national anthem?
The singer.
The singer, we have in the minutes $100 for
So
approved.
we need to
I think
about,
wrap that all together.
yeah, about 400.
I'll volunteer to pick it up at Dunkin' Donuts. And I'll deliver it to the site by 10 o'clock, not fire.
That is so awesome.
You have a fire truck?
Have you not seen this fire truck?
You haven't seen the fire
Okay,
truck.
let's keep going,
Is
sorry.
there a motion?
Yeah,
Yes, there's a motion on the table to move, what, how much, 400, $500? Let's make it five.
500.
Yeah.
$500
Yes.
from the Arbor Day fund to, the Memorial Day ceremony fund.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, so we have the introduction, and then we have the invocation, which is gonna be done by the American Legion Post Chaplain. Gary, what's his full name?
Ismo Guzman,
Ismo Guzman.
GUZMAN.
Right.
ISMO.
Okay,
Is no.
Ismo.
Does he also drive a motorcycle? Is that the motorcycle person? No.
Can I make a comment on that? We've addressed it a few times and every once in a while we try to make it non-denominational because we have, many faiths that attend the event. And what we've had in the past, if we end up with a chaplain or a pastor, they'll defer to their religion and they'll say, in Jesus' name, but I think we can.
Yeah, we
accomplish
just
this.
do it with this guy.
Yeah, we just say, but in his name, or I don't think we need to be so specific and we don't offend anybody
Right.
and everybody feels included.
That's a good idea. So, Gary, can you tell Ismo to make it non-denominational?
Yeah, no, I think it's a pretty good effort, you check.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll make sure he does a non-denominational, and I'll check ahead of time. Then the national anthem, the color guard is, my police, right? Town of Miami Lakes Police Color Guard. The national,
That's in all of Miami.
you're not gonna sing, you're not singing. You're just carrying a flag, okay?
Thank you for all your help.
The flag.
The singer's gonna be Brianna.
We may go back here to the banner. On the setup, on the website, town website, to register for the banner.
Right,
There are a few issues here that I brought up to Jonathan's attention. For instance, please include the following: proof of residency, that's fine. A copy, verification of active duty, which we translates into, if on active duty, then you have to show a copy of their ID card. 3, copy of DD 214 form if retired. Everyone gets a DD in service, gets a DD 214.
Yeah, but I think the memo and the new rule will fix that error. I mean,
No, this is the way it's set up.
As it currently, yeah, and then we can talk about that, because the memo and the request basically says you have to present your DD 214.
You had mentioned in the past about people not wearing the metal properly.
Yeah.
Well, we can vet that with the DD 214.
Yeah. And then I have to say, some folks I think maybe wearing medals they don't earn, or maybe got the order of the ribbons.
Then the other one is
Remember that one I showed you?
digital photo of the nominee must be in uniform. That doesn't work.
That doesn't work.
That's.
Yeah.
Not everyone has a uniform.
Or
Where is
It's just either, in a uniform, service uniform, or appropriate
Where's the
dress
memo?
code,
Where's the memo?
I don't know, memos been well. Where'd you put it?
somewhere.
I gave it to the pastor.
I have it, give it here.
I give it to Judy.
Judy, you're holding up. Oh.
Pass them.
Well,
Yeah, so the memo covers the DD 214, it
Right.
doesn't say the uniform aspect.
But that has to be translated into the.
Okay.
the format.
All right.
Online.
That's a very good point.
We could, remember that one guy that showed up in the Liberace jacket? Yeah, that picture that.
Yes,
I mean,
he's still there.
I mean, that shouldn't be. That,
Professional attire?
That Vincent,
yeah.
It's,
Vincent in that red jacket. Which is not too much off of what your pal, the sergeant at arms. wearing,
yeah, the white jacket, yeah. It's,
Who knows? What Navy-
Well,
Navy
look,
with the
I don't think, I don't know if I want to spend too much time being fashionistas right now. Let's move on, but that's a good point, Gary. We'll take care of that. So the national anthem will be sang by Brianna Correa. She's already been contacted and she's locked on. The guest speakers are going to be different veterans from the American Legion Post reading Congressional Medal of Honor that were given posthumously, so they died earning it from each service. Navy, Air Force, Marines, Army, Coast Guard. There's none from the Space Force yet. And I have a veteran from each of the applicable service reading that
We
citation.
have to. Nail that down, because we missed doing that at the meeting.
Well, I already got an Army, I already got a
Okay, yeah.
Marine. Just need a Navy, and I just need an Air Force. So, we'll see. I asked, Robert, what's his name?
Spano.
Yeah, I asked him if he could do it.
Airport.
Yeah, so let's see if I may have to send him an email reminder or something. Or send him a text, Gary, you probably have his information, his phone, Spano. Ask him, he usually shows up for these things, so. And then, the replaying with the Hialeah Women's Club, is that who we have?
It is.
It's the GFWC, right? So, Hialeah Women's Club.
Okay.
Now, we didn't clarify to them, and this is always a little point of contention, we've only done it twice, but whether or not they're gonna say something. The one year we had them speak, and a lot of people felt that maybe it was too much, and then the last year, we just had them walk it up. And I don't think they said anything, we said something kind of on their.
I think what we should do is we should have the same thing, we walk them
Yeah.
up. We have them in the center, and then we have the veterans who read the citation on the sides, helping make sure it's all, this is a big reason.
And then to see who they are. and
Well,
What do you
part of,
announce them.
part of the theme last year was that, the women's club represented the moms and the wives of all the service members. And so they, had tied that in a little bit. And then if they didn't do it, then we could, kind of touch it up for them, but they would be waiting on some indication from you on whether you wanted them to say anything or not, because at this point, they're buying the wreath, they're gonna have it there, I think at 10 o'clock. And they're gonna be.
I'll be honored if they would help present the wreath and put it in place. Can you reach out to them?
Sure.
Thank you. And then conclusion, and then that's pretty much it. As far as actual tasks. Okay, the wreath we have, the National Guard we have, the color guard we have, the MOA treater we always have, tents, chairs, and functional PA system. Jonathan, who was supposed to lock on the transfer? That would be paid.
It was paid over, he sort of handed it off to me, I think we were getting a bit busy, so we reached out to the Florida Marketplace Group, who has the farmer's market every Saturday, and they're giving us 6 tents.
Awesome. Do you need folks to set it up, or they're gonna set it up?
I have to clarify, I don't wanna press our luck too much with them, I don't wanna assume anything, so I'll.
There's a good chance we're gonna have rain, so we should have a couple of tents out there.
They gave us the tents and we loaded them up and then we're responsible for setting them up ourselves.
Okay,
Although we used the staff from.
Right, which,
Mary Collins,
okay.
but they didn't have anything to do with setting them up, they just gave it to us.
So we have the podium.
what do we have for it?
We have a podium and PA system.
Right, I reached out to Ernie over at Mary Collins, and we've got plenty of chairs at Mary Collins, so it's really just a matter of getting them out there. But
What-
that,
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, the chairs, podium, the tents are essentially taken care of. I'll double check on the who for the setup of the tents, but that was before me, so I don't know what it looked like last year.
Yeah, we did it last year with the help of considerable amount of help from the Mary Collins.
And we checked out the flags and they look pretty good. So
Yeah,
the
they're-
flags look good.
Yeah, they rolled them after we left it. They rolled them all.
Yeah, they're up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're rolled up.
They all look good. And I'm locking on the young Marines to hold the flags on the base because remember, we were really, be going around, but, and also I'm asking them to bring 5 flag harnesses that they can wear. Because my envision was as the Army Congressional Medal of Honor is being read, one of the young Marines will stand to the left or right holding the Army flag. You know, what do you think?
Well, I hadn't thought about it, but, okay, it's just the army flag.
Yeah.
Because you know what the real army flag looks like? It's got 200 plus streamers.
No,
It is a
it's
fair.
not the actual battle.
Okay.
The Marine
I
Corps
have
battle,
carried
the Marine Corps
it.
battle
It is.
flag is the same thing,
Yeah.
and so the Navy battle flag, they all have these crazy streamers and crazy,
Oh, the
like,
streamers,
you know,
yeah.
you did awards and stuff like that. No, just the
the
what we have.
Physical army flag.
And then they'll walk off, and then when the Navy person comes, the Navy flag will come in, and then the Air Force. You know, that way it kind of adds a little
Okay,
more.
if the person who's reading it is gonna be at the podium, it would be great if they would take it out of the stand, put it in their carrier and walk up next to the podium.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Next to the reader, yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
they're thinking. They're gonna take it out of the carrier, they have the harness, they put it in the harness, and they walk up next to the person at the podium.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. You know, we haven't rehearsed it. We're gonna rehearse it like at 10 AM. See how much of a gaggle it is and see if we can pull it off. So. But I think we can pull it off. It's not hard,
Alright, and
but it's kids, so we'll see.
the name of the singer again, sorry.
Brianna Ferrera, CORREA.
This one act for Brianna.
BRI.
RIANA.
We had mentioned, and
We talked about a bagpipe.
we didn't contact them, we just, I contacted the beef people and
Here, you can have my light.
The bagpipe players are that another question. You need some sort of memorial type military music set the atmosphere.
Well, I mean, you have a good point, because when we do the flag thing, the wreath, we need to play taps. Or something.
Who's modding in to bring the gentleman, the kid from the school to do it. Guzman's also.
Yeah, they did the trumpet thing, didn't they? Yeah, you did a great job. Let's do that.
Okay, we have each other.
just write it in there.
We have funds for them.
There's $100.
Sure.
Okay,
It's $100 that I heard at the last meeting for a bagpipe player.
Yeah.
100 for the singer, 100 for the bagpipe.
So we got enough. Just don't go crazy on coffee, Larry.
Yeah, even more.
We got $500 to spend. Just Larry, don't spend $500 on.
What about, do you want me or what about patriotic music?
Prior?
Or bagpipe players gonna be there. I can bring a speaker and split the patriotic music to the.
Yeah,
To the sound.
yeah, your music, the music you always play is pretty darn, I like it. when you played in your fire truck. That was pretty good.
I'll be by your house with a bullhorn.
No,
Siren.
the siren, the siren.
All right, moving right along. Okay, any more issues, concerns and stuff about Memorial Day? Yes, sir.
I want to verify, it's Sunday, the 28th.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Correct.
at
At
11.
11.
You better be there.
Yeah, because it was,
Your bells and
that
what?
or Monday.
Monday.
The real,
Yeah, the real Memorial Day is.
I mean, the real is the 31st, but it's celebrated on the 29th.
Want some spit shine shoes, too, buddy.
Yes.
He's
I know you're
gonna
watching.
be, he's gonna be checking.
Make your pop.
All right, moving right
Are we
along.
gonna have a representation from the American Legion there?
We should, they're gonna be the readers of the MOHs.
They're not even the readers, we're gonna have.
And somebody with their uniform and their hat and their.
Well,
Well, they should be all wearing at least their shirts, and, you know, leisure shirts.
I mean, I don't know how many there, but we talked about it the last meeting.
Maybe the hats.
I know, we
Yes.
need cameras there.
No, but I.
that's something unless their heads got,
You're gonna say, you know,
That'll be good.
I mean, they should each be
you wanna give
wearing
me that list of
their
people.
service cap.
You need to give me that list for people. I'll tell you.
Yeah, okay.
Let me send that to Gary, that's a good idea. Hey, Gary, Bill had a really good idea, you know, for the ones who are reading for the Medal of Honor. If they can wear, of course, their American Legion shirt, but their former service cover. You know, if they were in the Army, if they still have their Army service cover, Navy service cover, Air Force cover, if they have it. And if they don't have it, that's okay, wear whatever, you know, Army, US Air Force veteran, whatever. cap
We
they
had,
want.
you have.
Yeah.
And.
What do we have for the Navy?
On our tax.
Well, I mean, for Coast Guard, I only know one Coast Guard guy.
Oh, we have. Yeah.
Is he coming?
Well, let's talk about this after the.
Yeah.
Do we have Coast Guard CMOs?
Yeah, one.
Yeah.
And he served with the Marines, that's why he got it. World War II. So. Okay, moving right along. Veterans Park, more ideas, municipal. Let's go through the slides real quick. So that's the old business, new business. Okay, remember the cow?
Right.
Okay. The cow that never happened.
The cow who is out wandering in.
The
some
cow that we
factory.
want to have, the sculpture cow and stuff like that. So what I like to start doing now is kind of figuring out what we all can come to a concurrence on, what we all think would be something we want to bring forward to the town. I'll tell you right now, the town is very much involved in just funding Optimist Park. You know, despite what the voters say, you know, thank you very much for your vote, and now we saw you. But they're all into funding Optimist Park. But I think one thing I've learned in working in federal government is the person who has the plan, when there's money left over at the end of the fiscal year,
The squeaky wheel gets attention.
gets the funding. So I'd rather be ready.
Michael Peasy might be getting into that fund.
Well, that's true, but I'd rather be ready if they do have funding, so we can dip into it because we have a plan. And we have, you know, something that we allocate to that will help the town. All right, so let me put on the table, the cow, Sergeant Moo. I'll make a motion that we include the cow as part of the plan. Does anybody oppose? Anybody agree? Disagree? Anyone to second my motion? Cost of the cow is about 11 grand.
That's with the wrap and the base and the
Yes.
installation and the shipping
Yes.
and the workers' comp claim for the bad back and all that.
Well, I don't know about that.
That's a wrap, yeah.
Talking 4 or 5,000 for the artwork.
Yes, the cow, yeah. So, okay, so it'll be maybe 17, you know, something like
Yeah. Years ago, it used to be
like 5 grand.
that invoice and, you know.
Well, I see no enthusiasm. Let's move right along.
Table the cow again?
Table the cow. Okay, next one,
Good cow. Okay.
poor cow's dead. Next one, we have a picture for it.
Clam shell, it's already.
All right.
That's really nice.
Next one is something I saw that was really, really nice and was really great there because we used that field as the Performance Arts Center. And and it had restrooms and it was ADA compliant. It was right there in Bonita Springs. I put a motion on the table that we propose the town to create a clamshell stage similar to the Bonita Springs one. Anyone second that motion?
I second it.
Hmm.
All right. Okay, let's put, as far as cost goes, I do not know. We would have to get a cost engineer, figure all that out. But like I said, better to have a plan than no plan. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Say nay. Okay, so the clamshell is good. All right, next slide, please. That's just the back of the clamshell with all the heads. Okay, the flagpole stand, next one. Should be a picture of it, I hope. Okay. Again, this was at Bonita Springs, it just seemed to have, I'm like, wow, this would be perfect. It was a smaller park than Veterans Park. And what they had there was a small marble base with just an area for flags. And we could have ours even a little bit bigger so we can put the service, we could have little holes in there for the service flags go into. You know, so when we have our ceremony.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, so I make a motion to approve something similar to that, but a little bit longer because I'll have the space for the service flags.
Yeah, we only put up during ceremonies.
We only put up, and it's the same wooden flag, so it wouldn't be, it wouldn't steel, obviously. So, and we just take them all out, you know, make a motion to approve that with a little bit modification.
Are we gonna have the park staff raise and lower the flag every day, or are we gonna
Like,
light it?
Should be lit.
Well, it has to be lit, it has to be lit if it's gonna be
Yeah, it's
overnight.
gonna be one night.
Well, we'll probably light it,
we have to light it.
yeah, we'll probably light it,
They're lit now.
yeah.
We don't have to light it, that's what I'm saying.
We have to leave it up.
If we leave it up, it's gotta be lit, that's the law,
It's gonna get left up, so you gotta light it.
Yeah, so, yes,
which means you have to maintain the light and all that. kind of stuff.
yeah, that's,
The park
that's,
staff, we're gonna add to the park staff's responsibilities when we do this.
all right, okay, motion on the table to approve the flagpole and base to include additional bases for service flags for ceremonies
And lit, and light.
and lit. Gary seconds that motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And against? All right, so that's the part of the plan. Next. All right. The battlefield cross, I think, would look really nice in front of that flagpole area,
Definitely.
or, next slide, please. Near that, like a memorial wall. Right, and you think, I think you had one as well.
Yeah, I have one that's very similar in
Yeah.
that. Instead of having like combat veterans on it, it had an individual from each of the
Right, in their
services
service uniform.
in their service uniform, and it had different ethnic and different sexes.
Yeah, I know, I like what you had
Had a
better.
female soldier, and it had it had.
That's your awareness that.
Yes, that's a good, and it's a good recruiting tool because, and it had a Marina dress blues, it had everybody in their service alphas. And it was, you know, different genders, different races, and it had, to me, a better vibe. You know, this one looks like you're carrying the wounded, you know, it had a better, more optimistic vibe. What I do like about this one is I like the service seals along
I
the
like that
base.
too. It's beautiful.
You know, I like the service seals. And I think it'll be also a nice place for the battlefield cross, or we put the battlefield cross in front of that flag, because then I can see that flag in that battlefield cross area being used to where we put the wreath for Memorial Day. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, I think we had looked at Doral as a veterans park. And they have a very sizable flag display with all the service flags, the US flag and the POW flag. Quite grand, and then the battlefield cross was kind of off a little bit to the side, still in that kind of main catchment area, but it was kind of by itself rather than, so you have the battlefield cross kind of by itself singularly. And then you have the, we might even, Jonathan, do you have the ability to pull up things on the internet? You can pull up
Yeah.
the RAL
I
Veterans
just-
Park.
Just want to tell you the way they have it there now. They have. They don't have space
Anyway.
for it. They have Coast Guard before that, and then followed by the merchant marine.
But I
I
mean.
mean, yeah, we
In the
could,
seal?
I mean, we could fix that. That's the
What was
yeah,
it?
merchant marine
there's the
section. there's a
RAL
lot to
Veterans
it.
Park.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we.
there's-
That's a pretty nice.
Mm,
Yeah, send that to, Jonathan, and email that.
mm.
What specifically were you?
Well, I was gonna see if they had the layout, but, anyway, it doesn't really matter. We're
Yeah.
a long way away from getting that, but yeah, that sounds good. Something
Yeah.
that's kind of situated in and around that area.
Okay, so, all right, so let's go back and take a look at approving some type of memorial
Oh,
wall.
that's
There it is.
it. Yeah, if you go, and then the cross is, I think that's it. That's a. Let's see, oh, you come in from the top down.
Yeah. This is.
There.
Yeah, and that's where the service flags are that outer ring to the backside, located between 8 and 4. And then the battlefield cross is.
Is it over there?
I was gonna say, it looks
Where?
like that's on the left, but that's not it. It's in that area though. And you can't see it there.
Yeah, you can't really see much, but.
No, it was on the phone.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out, but we know we're gonna.
but yeah, something like that sounds good. I just wasn't too keen on putting it in the Mary Collins, center.
So
That's this.
okay, memorial wall. I like the wall design that Bill Knickerbocker is talking about. He's sending a picture, he's sending it right now to Jonathan. And hopefully as an email to Jonathan will follow it up.
Not yet,
but-
it's coming.
Yeah, he's you know,
You won't be able
we're
to.
relying on Bill Knickerbocker's technological skills.
Yeah.
Well, if you can tell John,
Play the Jeopardy theme in your mind as this goes on.
can he look it up himself? William, because he can't, he's not gonna be able to, his outlook's disconnected.
Yeah,
from that.
it is in,
Maybe just give us the picture, we can pass your phone around.
Yeah, that.
Just don't look in the photos.
Yeah, no one scroll from the photos,
Oh my goodness.
especially you, police officer.
What is this?
this is essentially, yeah. It's got,
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah, isn't it?
It's
I mean,
in,
it's a little mausoleum-ish at the top. I think I like.
No, I like that, yeah, but I like that picture. We like that picture, we like the architecture of that, but we like that picture.
Yeah.
okay, and on the other side of it, let me get the other side of it real quick. Give it back to me.
That's got a mausoleum.
All right, Gary, don't you hit that button.
On the other side, on the other side.
No,
Oh my God.
Guys,
You know.
Knickerbocker's so nervous right now. Right. I don't wanna know.
you don't need to know.
We're alive.
You don't have a need to know.
You know, I need Officer Amador to do the, I see nothing. Remember Hogan's Heroes? Sergeant Schultz, I hear nothing.
Yeah, I like the reminder that we're live.
Okay, so anyway, a motion on the table for a memorial wall with that type of architecture, but with that maybe that image.
I make the
Yes.
motion, I second the motion.
Bill,
Mike, I'm trying to get the.
Mike made the motion, who seconds the motion?
I'll second the motion.
All right, second motion, so a memorial wall that has that type of architecture, but with
With the proper, the seals and the proper.
the different seals in the proper order and the photo that positive image. It's on the table.
Cross representation.
It's on the table, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, it's carried. All right, so we're gonna be proposing, I'm gonna
That's what the back of it.
a memo, okay, got the splash pad.
That's what the back.
Okay.
It's yours, it's yours. So this is what the back of that looks like.
It's really nice. I love it.
You know, it's-
Yeah, POW, yeah, it's really,
Alright, so we're on this last one.
I want to back up just a little bit from the beginning. I want to go to something we talked a couple of years ago now. We talked about, you know, the idea that we would be putting our stamp on it or on the park. And that we would do it in such a way that we would have a plan. We would have a drawing. We started out initially of what we, of all proposed things we would like to do. The wall, the cow,
yeah,
the
this is what we're
clamshell,
doing.
all those
Flag
things.
These are the components.
Right, all the components,
Yeah,
and we wouldn't do it piecemeal, we would put it all together how we wanted it, then we would prioritize which things we wanted to do.
Yeah,
first.
basics, yeah.
And my idea would be to do it the way architects. do it.
That's in.
We would have initially I proposed to have a big map of the park, a large map.
So
We could
it's on
put
a
these
corner
things
right
on the
down.
map and get a visual of what
It's
they
got a
look
whole
like.
bunch of stuff.
I'd like to take that to the next level and look at like a 3D architectural map, the type you would see when you walk into a construction area where they're building buildings, and they would have that model,
You want a model?
a model.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
idea would be to
Like
have
models,
a
like models too.
model of the park. I'm serious, a model of the park,
$10,000.
It could be
Quite
placed-
funny now.
exactly, be placed in the Mary Park Learning Center, Mary
For a
Park.
promotional kind of thing?
The idea would be all the things we
This
proposed
here,
for the
this
park
there,
would be
that's
here.
it.
But another thing that happens is we're in a bubble in this room. We're not really paying attention.
How would
to what the
not,
town wants.
how would not remember how they were trying to promote Optimist Park and they had those,
Renders.
the renderings?
They're right, yeah.
How would renderings not do the same thing and be much?
The town didn't want Veterans Park, that thing in this park, and they voted it down for the election.
Yeah, it's good. I know what you're saying, but I'm
Yeah,
just
but that
saying,
was-
why wouldn't
that was-
renderings, which is cheaper to do?
We could do it.
Not be as
I'm not opposed to rendering, we could do that. But the idea being that we do that in advance, and then we put it out there, just like that pad. I put the pad out on social media to see what kind of feedback we would get from the town, not the Veterans Committee, but the people that actually live in the town. And I believe there was probably about 150 comments on it,
It was nice.
a lot for it, a lot against it. When I was all done, I'm saying to myself, you know what? Maybe now's not the time to push that pad, as much as I like it, maybe now's not the time. But another thing that I liked about that was the idea that, and it came off of your idea, Bill. The idea of, the idea of communicating with the kids at the school age, give them a positive view of the military. Give them a guy to look up to, somebody that they're proud of. To give them a different view of the military. Because right now, the woke teachers, the kids in school, they have no respect. So the idea that we put something out there,
Everybody else.
well, we would put something out there for kids and kind of earn their respect. Or
Yeah,
earn
I
their,
mean, I hear you, Larry, but I think with a splash pad, that would be even more costly to maintain
I'm not saying it's not, I'm not. saying
than,
it's
than a clamshell.
I absolutely agree, and I'm not saying it's for now, it's something just to put out there, it's not for now. But I'm saying the idea of being, mainly what I'm saying is, the idea of putting that rendering up, with the items we're talking
See how it
about,
look.
the wall, the things.
Well, I
see
think
how
that's
they
a
look.
really great idea, and I think that's actually, yeah, and the way I envision this. Okay, first phase is we approve something and we have an approval with the committee. Second phase is I draft a memo and we have some folks that say they will volunteer to do some architectural rendering. Now,
Pedro's.
Pedro says he has a connection. Now, I'm gonna go to that guy, he either puts up or shuts up, and I'll have him do the architectural rendering based upon what we are recommending. And then maybe we can get actual graphic renderings to start putting up, because we also have to sell not just the town council,
Yeah,
and then we can then begin to think of, are there funding sources besides the town? Remember, this is Veterans Park. And there's a lot of folks who support veterans causes. And we're actually trying to create an art space for veterans, in a sense, a space where arts can be put on, entertainment can be put on. And not only just benefits veterans, it benefits the whole community. And it helps veterans. Connecting veterans with art is one of the best way for them to deal with PTSD.
and the art broadens our funding base.
Exactly right. And so I think having a dedicated space for the arts, which this thing is already being used anyway. We have concerts in that park. We have the 4th of July concert and all that stuff. It's already being used as an art space. Let's make it our permanent art space. But I agree with you, and then if we can get, private sources of funding, and donations and stuff,
grants.
We can get,
Grants.
we can get corporate donation.
yeah,
Um,
and I'm sure we can get corporate donations.
It will
We
be
can
on
see
that.
what, we can phase it out and say, here's where this is gonna be, here's what this is gonna be, we can pay for this, we can pay for this, and then folks can see progress. And then they get more enthusiastic and they start, donating more, et cetera.
Is there a way that we can start a fund that will stay perpetually in somewhere that they can't take it from that budget?
I don't know. I don't know a lot of process of.
I mean, well, that's one of the things I was thinking about, Judy, is, drafting a request for information, RFI to the town attorney. Saying, what are the pros and cons and restrictions dealing with a foundation? That supports Veterans Park for my a private foundation. Does help to offset the cost of construction and maintenance. And so I'm actually gonna draft them, and we'll make the guy earn his freaking huge retainer.
Well, Bill Bothers is done with the contract for the run.
Yeah, I won't.
So I was just,
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's addressed that with us before. He
Yeah.
came in and spoke to it and said that there were complications, you might remember.
Yeah.
With mixing private and public, but I don't know. the
Yeah,
specifics, so
and I
asking for
remember him talking to us about that, and you know what he didn't do? He didn't get specific. And so what the request for information and the fourth memo will do is gonna request that he specifically provides. What are the exact rules and what are the exact regulations?
How can we do it, not how can we
Yeah.
not? do it?
right,
Yes.
just in the interest of time, so these votes are recommendations that you will bring to council.
That's correct.
So, we had our meeting last time with Jeremy, he had his thoughts, Pedro had his thoughts on our potential limit. Is there a recommendation to council for this splash pad? Just in the interest of time, I don't wanna.
No,
Separate right talk.
no, the only thing we approved, we voted on and we approved the clamshell, the wall. The Bevel Cup's already been approved, and the flags, that's it.
I just wanted to bring out.
You have
before-
the point of
before we
approving
put it
the
up there,
cow?
I did some research
We didn't
to find out what.
Oh, no, we tabled the
general
cow.
consensus was.
We voted on the clamshell. I wasn't, they voted on the flag stand. We didn't do
Yeah, we need to.
anything about the battlefield cross.
Well, the Battlefield Cross is already approved.
Because it's
a matter
already
of
approved,
location,
right?
Yeah.
Here.
We haven't, we bought it, we have it.
And we
The
approved
flag one?
Yeah.
Patriot / memorial wall.
Yes.
Oh, where is that? Is it in yet? Have we received?
So Jonathan, to sum up, the only thing we are going to recommend to the council are the clamshell.
Right, just in the interest of the time and the minutes, is the splash pad, is it tabled or is there a motion to say no?
I motion to table it, because eventually the town might be dying for a splash pad, they need to know that we have a heart and a place for it.
Well, we're initiating what? Check your access.
And one of the things that Larry brought up with the stage phases that we had talked about, which I thought had an appeal besides just orderly fashion, I thought it would be more appetizing to town council if we were able to forecast 2, 5, 10 years, rather than give them a project.
Right.
So we need $5 million. We could say we need, in the next 2 years, we need whatever, 100,000, in 5 years, we need 500,000. So if we had an ability to lay it out so that we had a structure for where those things are going to go. Not only would it help us in laying out the park, so we weren't just throwing it in, an
Ad
odd,
hoc, yeah.
but it would also provide a architecture for the financing so that they could say, oh, okay, we're not having to worry about this in the next 2 years, but in 2030, we're gonna be
Yeah, this is
moving on to. something.
Totally a military operation kind of thing. We have phases, we have stages, we have sequels, we have branches.
So the town has what they call.
Welcome to
strategic-
Marine Corps Operational Planning 101.
town has a strategic planning.
Right.
Strategic planning for all the things they want to have in the future, be it road improvements, storage, whatever, your infrastructure, to have it all in that plan. And these things would.
Yeah, I mean, what we'll do is we will probably set up something where they could put it as a tab. Into that little computer thing of the Manulate 2025. I think what we're gonna come up with is actually a little bit more actionable plan than they have in that thing from what I saw. So, okay, so that's where we're at. So next step in that thing is for me to construct a memo, basically saying these are the recommendations. The other memo is to the town attorney asking for requests for information as to any issues dealing with a private foundation, whether yes or no's and pros and cons. And then we'll get with Pedro Piaio and his architecture friend and see if we can get some architectural renderings done based upon the concepts we have. So we go from there, and then we'll figure out whether or not we can get some donations for the artistic renderings and stuff like that. So that way we can start our campaign to start selling this, I guess. I don't know what the word is. Yes, officer.
There's a comment on selling it. The PAM show is the #1 priority because it benefits all the.
Yeah.
Everybody, all the committees and everybody.
And you know what? The Community Affairs Committee. the one in Clamshell. Cultural affairs.
When's your next
Culture.
chair meeting with all the chairs?
Oh, I don't know.
I want to say,
We just had
we
one.
just had one.
Yes, I will.
It's either gonna be July or if you want to set to the quarterly schedule, it should have been.
And the good thing about that one is that's the priciest of them all, but it does impact the most.
Price, any idea?
That's probably $2 million, $3 million.
Well, I'm gonna turn this.
Well, the last
You
time
let
he
me
said
manage
he
it, maybe
recorded
4.5.
years ago for 900,000.
The town manager-
Yeah, but
That was
just,
maintenance.
that's the maintenance.
That's, yeah.
That's just the maintenance.
Exactly.
You know, these water pumps and different types of pressure, I mean, the pump pressurized that they have to do to defeat gravity to make that work, oh, forget about it, you know. What's good about the clamshell thing is, as a structure, probably has a very long, shelf life, basically the only things you have to worry about repairing is lighting
Yeah.
and the PA system, So, all right, anything else?
Sell to all the committees.
You're down to 24 budget.
Is this all also going to be in your memo that you want to present to council?
Well, you have to go in front of council and present, what the recommendations of the committee and say, we would like to do this. And then they, once you put it on the agenda, they'll vote on whether or not they like your idea. But what resistance we've met in the past has been, we appreciate you veterans giving us, but this is one part in a series of whatever, 5
Yeah.
plus the pocket parts. And so we're not, looking at developing your part, but they would if you had council's support.
Well, I think the way I'm gonna try to sell it, I'm gonna say, listen, what I like to do is develop a detailed plan. We're not gonna execute anything unless it's already self-funded by donations and stuff like that. And it's not out of pocket. And that way, we help the town in executing whatever the eventual plan is for this. And see how that goes,
I
because
would wait for that memo.
You're gonna get private companies to donate
From the
that
town
money to the
attorney?
town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, so, yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, because that's gonna basically set the stage,
Yeah.
because I like to go in there saying the town attorney said the foundation can be done.
Exactly.
Or here's the criteria and stuff like that. So your concerns about, funding and resources, what we have, a possible workaround. So,
Well, the other thing is if at the quarterly meeting of the committees, the consensus of the committees is that a clamshell at Veterans Park is supported by all the committees,
Definitely.
that would sway a
Absolutely.
lot, and it would say, okay, not gonna be this year, but the consensus of the committees longer term is to create a clamshell at Veterans Park for different activities.
and that's a good point, but I think Ed's spot on is, let's see what the town attorney says as to the pros and cons of foundations. Set it, if we can set it up, then we kind of take away a lot of their fiscal argument. And then it becomes, okay, if it's not a fiscal issue because we can fundraise for it, then it becomes what does everyone want first? All right, next issue is, and thank you everyone for voting and for all your input, is F-24 budget. Jonathan, I think you threw that on there.
I did, we're about to get into the nitty-gritty, budget cycle and requests and everything, so I printed out, and hopefully you all have.
Yeah, order two.
We're like
There are two things, there's the detail, and then there is. this.
Did I get a copy?
No more?
Yes.
There we
Right
go.
there.
Thank you very much.
So. Basically, we have to decide what budgets we want, what dollar amounts we want. Basically, the comments or justification for the monies. I was not here with you guys last time around, so I don't know how you guys want to handle it, but. I don't know.
It's not.
What does the committee? What monies do you guys want? I know there was an increase in budget request last year. Is that something that we want to maybe start this whole conversation off with? Or any questions?
The 500 is that the Arbor Day money that we moved? No, what is that 500? Care Veterans Affairs Committee.
That's, well, you see the comment says flower and flags for deceased, I'm assuming
Where do you see that? Oh,
the comments next to it. So I'm just,
okay,
again,
sorry, I was on the other.
inform me because I haven't been around for, that is. Monies that, you know, the veteran in the community passed away, if there was some sort of flowers that wanted to be sent. My understanding is that's what that line item would be doing.
Well, I think so. What do we have right now for the Memorial Day event budget?
Memorial Day is not funded.
No, maybe we should fund that $500.
Well, what happened last year was we put a considerable amount of effort into the budget. We submitted it, and then
They ignored it.
it never went to the budget office. Then they just replicated the one from the year before.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
all the recommendations and when council was, you know, looking at the monies, they shot down the committee request, so. That's why it's, I guess it kind of defaulted back to where it was.
And then, there was a discussion, budget discussions, and the town manager made the decision to just stay with what we had from previous years.
Okay.
Out of order that.
Right, so I mean, so for Memorial Day event, I think we should budget $500
I think we did that, didn't we?
at least.
Yeah, we
just
did.
voted.
So that's.
Yeah.
Next.
For next
Yeah,
year.
this is
Oh.
all for next year.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So you want to?
You guys can ask for 1,000,
We can ask for 1,000.
whatever, like, I mean, of course, within reason, but. I'm presenting this as a budget officer, so whatever we're asking for, like, this is the time to do it.
I wouldn't go crazy.
That's
I don't think so.
No, I know, that was just me.
But yeah.
Right, we're not.
Okay, let's ask for 750,
Okay,
you know, so let's ask for
but we
750,
go from 0 to 750.
0 to
for that
750.
decision.
yeah. So 750,
And-
motion on the table for 750.
No, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, but we, in an effort to justify what we're going to be spending the money on. We would say that we're providing monies for the entertainers, maybe $200. We're providing monies for water and donuts and coffee. And
For the volunteers.
and one of the things that we kind of learned as we went was, as I mentioned, the bunting on the
Right.
podium, a
Decoration.
tablecloth on the thing, because, you know, we just put the table there and I was, oh, we need to go get. And then we got these things, so those little things, I don't know if how much that would total.
What about
Two,
poppies? We didn't talk about poppies.
All right. So we-
That's a major thing Memorial Day.
So-
You know, the little
So in
poppies.
this, because every line item has to have this justification of Microsoft, so I could say,
Gary,
no, you're fine.
Yeah, you guys-
do we have any poppies out there from
Those
last
little
year?
poppies?
The poppies, we still have them.
No, but do we have?
Yeah, so Jonathan say,
We have
for,
those, we still have.
I'd like to pack them out.
Right,
to
I
everybody
have a
in the
little something,
Yeah, we
so
have them. Sponsored.
for the entertainment,
750 for this line item, I'm
back. So,
saying
Gary, you're gonna bring those?
event monies for speakers, rentals, or tenting, decorations, or any other costs associated with the event.
there you go, there you go. That's it, right?
Absolutely for the tenting because,
Refreshments.
you know,
for
like,
volunteers.
We want to be, and I'll be honest, we have to be as specific as possible. 'Cause
Refreshments
We're at
for
the point where
volunteers.
if we can't justify the money, you know,
They'll be like,
you say, why do you need this? Okay, you don't, no longer your budget, which,
Okay,
you know, we have to.
So,
justify.
Ed, you had some concern?
No, my only question was like, so the budget that was adopted was included 12,500 for the band, but then
That was,
so we have
that
that,
was with Jonathan's predecessors, who went to Fred Senra and disregarded but that didn't carry over.
so we didn't have that 12,500.
We did, well, we did, but we didn't use it for that, and I think it was reclaimed.
Okay.
But is
But
that
you
in the
know, I
budget
mean,
too
I
this
would
year?
tell you,
we thought,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
What if that's what I'm.
what if there's
Right.
a sponsorship?
Right, that's like a what if there's. a
Yeah,
sponsor.
that's why we.
Prior to your arrival, I think it was, Bill, that we made the case that the town should if they're invested in veterans, then they should support it with funding.
Right.
And that they should provide the monies for the banners. And that way we could do away with the logo, the Miami, you know, whatever logo, whoever.
And I got Fred pretty upset.
Well, to some extent, but, you know, we felt that if the town was supporting, veterans, then it should be funded by the town.
Right.
And town council agreed. And they said, yes, we'll, align that money for, but we didn't use it for that. The next year it went right back to, the sponsor who graciously, paid for it. And then we ended up with, in essence, an overage.
Okay,
That
but
was
I do
absorbed by
know,
the town.
because I'll send me the receipt as to the installation
They'll
of.
have to, we pay for the
Yeah.
installation.
Yeah, we
Installation,
basically.
Yeah.
So we have to budget for it.
8,000, right? If I'm reading the budget correctly, the actuals that were spent was 8,260.
This is, well, for
No.
the,
That's what it says.
for last year, correct.
Yeah, putting them up and taking them
Right,
down.
so what my point is, we still have to budget for it. And then if we ask for the 12,500,
That was through Mr. Senda, we paid it off, or he paid it, we paid him. Essentially, so
okay,
you're right, no, but you are, I just want to be.
But the cost, the actual cost was 8,500.
okay, my point
Right,
is,
right, right.
we had 12,500, right? So we should ask for it again, and we should have that money, and then the extra money like we've done other years, that is an overage, because whatever, someone donates the banners or whatever, then we can move it around like we've had other years, right? Because we don't want to come, if our budget request last year was 15 grand, we don't want to come with a $5,000 budget.
Most of the banners are gonna need to be replaced next year.
Yeah, but he'll do it. Like he does
Fred will
it
still
every
do
year.
Yeah, Fred covered that.
So what I'm-
It's just up to us to give it-
Expensive
Did
next
you guys
year.
do a
Not like
contract?
the
with
last
them? We're
couple of
talking about getting it-
Most of the banners are all faded out and gone. They need to be replaced.
My only point is that we're counting, we should count that money again.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think we should go with a lower budget.
Right.
Because we don't know what the cost of installation of those banners is
It's
gonna
gonna go
be.
up.
And it's gonna go up. And I mean, when I got the receipt from Miles, like, going, are you kidding me? It costs that much? Whatever. So we won't change that. So the only thing so far we're adding is the 750 for Memorial Day. Is there anything else that we need to add or change?
Yeah, what about promotions like Memorial Day event? I mean, there is a small ad in
Later.
Miami Laker. I don't know what we're doing as far as promoting it.
It's been going out on our social media. Instagram stories or,
How about the
Yeah.
views as a continent that hits, where are we at?
it gets us, we have, one more wrap of, you know. Cause we do have photos from last year, that's gonna be the, you know, the visual aid that people will actually attract to rather than the flyer that we're putting out.
What was the attendance there last year, Mike? Do you recall?
It was fairly well.
Well,
Well, we had
great guest speaker.
more people trying to get under the tents.
And it,
Because of super dollars.
We didn't have enough seats for everybody.
No.
it's been in our newsletter, our notices.
Let me ask you another question. I see here again on the actuals that for the Memorial Day event was 1470 that was actually spent.
Right, I think there was some sponsor that came in.
Okay, but my point is that should we ask for more than 750 or 7 whatever? Because we always.
That's a good point. What was the spend time?
I'm gonna pull the. I'm gonna
Okay,
pull
that's probably, remember, that you had to reimburse us for the flags. That
The
was
flag,
almost
that was a one-time cost. That was $800. That was a one-time cost.
750, almost 800.
Yeah, that's it. That was a one-time
But
cost.
that's okay, I'm gonna run back to that. We still want 12.5 for the banners. Does anyone want to provide a comment on it? I mean, it's kind of been in our budget, but if I can add some sort of.
Reprints.
Well, I would say reprints. We have to reprint a bunch of them. And I don't know how much Fred is gonna say I'll reprint a bunch of them. Because when we went through the cleaning process, I would say 75% of them need to be reprinted.
Well, originally, every year they were just reprinting them. And then we said, in order to be a good steward of Fred's money and show our appreciation, that we would invest the time to reuse them.
But, well, I guess
You
we
can't
found out,
reuse
we
them
found
forever.
that. Yeah, we found out that they have a 3-year shelf life.
Yeah.
Then they have to be
Yeah, yeah.
reprinted.
That's probably a good call.
Yeah.
of reuse.
So, yeah,
Okay, so I'll
every 3-year reprint.
And as I
Pending
pointed out,
installation.
the
Yeah,
installation
any
cost,
reprint or installation.
which was significant.
That sponsors may or may not be able to or willing.
That's right.
That's That's how I'm gonna put it in.
I mean, that was very expensive.
Well, that's-
We tried to get one banner and it was $500, a late arrival. And, they wanted to charge $500.
No, it's like,
Ridiculous, it was like $8,000. I
yeah,
guess.
it's
It
rough,
was like,
it's rough because you have one hanger.
I go, I'll send it to Bill, like,
This-
So
this is the hanging print.
I
I'm
don't
like,
think it's a harp on that Memorial Day event, but if we show that we already spent 1470 last year,
mhm.
my recommendation is to have to use 1,000.
But that was, Gary had
It
bought.
was
his
800
flags.
for.
Yeah, I get it.
Over
But
here.
the thing is, these people are gonna look at it. They're gonna see 1470. If we ask for $1,000, they're gonna rubber stamp it.
Remember,
I don't know.
the flag was the only thing that the town purchased for because
Right,
But you
I
got a good
donated,
point.
Right.
we donated a whole.
no, but Ed's saying, if that's what we spent last year, we should just do it again.
We should just ask,
But,
say,
but,
What I think Ed raises a really good point,
Yeah,
because when we were checking out the flags, some of them were a little moldy, getting a little bit of mold. So we may need to be replacing flags every year or two,
maybe.
and it'll be nice to have a funding source for that. So, yeah, I agree, $1,000,
right. Replace it.
yeah, or if the
The
eagle,
bases.
or the things, or those break, you know, and they're not cheap.
So the 750 went to 1,000.
What's 1,000? Because I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have the flags, I have coffee. That was 375.
Yeah, it's just in case we have to replace the flags that get damaged
So
in the
1,000?
base. And the ego, what do you call it?
The top.
Flags.
The finial.
Top.
I'm gonna go up, down, I think that
Don't-
would be better for us. Zero, don't worry about that zero up top. I'm gonna put again 0 for the 5K because all that money brought sponsors.
That's right, yeah.
Right now, what you see in the amended, all the donations that we got. Of course, we have all of our expenses, I brought it down to not so beautiful amount, but.
do we need seed money on that event for advertising? Or some of the hard items like we had talked about, the sandwich boards to identify areas, or that's all coming from. Because the money that this is for you, Judy, I think, the money that the sponsors are getting for the run
Mhm.
is going towards paying the expenses and then
Everything, yeah.
giving. So advertising and everything else would come from that as well. Like the startup,
Yeah, I
think advertising now, but we're gonna be projecting that money, like in other words, if we don't get that money until December, how are we doing that?
Tom carries it, I did it last year, it was the same.
Like they
But we have it at
they
the
wanted
budget.
0 sponsors, but we wanted to promote something, like, I'm assuming that we can take care of that, and then once the actual money comes in.
But we would need to have it.
Like a seed,
We have
yeah,
that, we
yeah.
have that identified as an expense.
Did we send plaques or anything out to the sponsors?
No.
Not this year,
Well, isn't that something we should
we
do?
did before, you know.
Should we do it
I
again?
mean, I'm blacked out. just
I mean,
as a
that
sponsor,
that's
just so you
that would
know.
come out of that money
I'm
as well.
blacked out.
You don't want
plaque
any
the
more
one?
plaques.
I love like getting,
They
like,
love them. Told you that.
but
Such as
I'm
blacked
blacked
out.
out. I have no more room for any more plaques.
Maybe we
Right,
just back
I
up
can't throw 'em
something
out.
else.
What else would
We
be,
talked about this, didn't we come up with a nice alternative to plaques that was cheaper and meaningful than the
Lots of Johnson.
like a sign thing from the mayor. That's what it was. We were gonna do a pretty, like
oh,
a nice thing
yeah,
like
that's
that.
Like a certificate of appreciation.
yeah,
Yes.
The mayor's was doing certificate of appreciation, he has Gilsa. Do we know?
I thought the certificate of appreciation was for the members that have to do that.
Yeah, we do that, but we could also do
That
that for the
too.
sponsors
I like that
too.
response, very sensitive. I'm a sponsor, I have a plaques, they love them, but I would rather, like, you guys have a town, we'll have one of the council
You ever
meetings.
been to Fred's
And
office?
invite the sponsors, if they show, they don't, if you don't, we'll deliver to their place of business, you put on the wall. So much easier to put stuff on the wall.
Have you ever been to Fred's office, Fred Center's office?
I can't say that I have.
Sorry.
Go into Fred's office and he's got plaques all the way around. He's got little statues, different awards and gifts that were given to his company. And he's proud of that stuff. He really is.
I am too, and I
And,
get it.
and it's, and I think that we should keep that tradition.
As an aside, I need language for the certificates that I need to give to Joseph for the.
The volunteers?
Yeah. I spoke to him.
Okay, I can do that.
Beautiful
fun-
sign thing with a gold shiny sticker, beautiful. And seal,
It's all-
nice,
It's all plaque.
all out of plaque.
All right, so we're at seed money for, the run. What do you expect?
I would say that we
for-
need to start with, want to really like.
We budget for that?
We gotta get the shirts that, I mean, we can put the vendor off, that we did this last year, and didn't, so we have money with,
Well, by the time you get the shirts, funding will already be in from the sponsor.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
shirt-
That is a late.
But we just
Yeah.
have to set it as an expense.
yes,
Yeah, where we get the money to pay for it, whether they, but, because the town has been very adamant.
So what do you say
If we have
shirts are?
zero,
How much?
they give us zero.
$7,000.
Right.
I think it was $7,000 or
I think we should budget
$8,000.
for the- Get some frames and get it in there, get it done, which we're skipping over, very important thing we need to do.
Yeah.
We need to say thank you, that's important.
I did, I walked to every single sponsor, wrote a thank you note, and
It's
gave them
not,
a
it's
bag.
not the same as.
That's for the 5K?
Yeah, this last year.
For last year's or for next?
Last year, well,
Last year, we never did last
What
year.
you saying?
Last year?
We haven't done last year's, and we have this year to do it.
If we do it for last year, we're gonna have to dig into the money.
That we have, yeah, the money, well, we only.
The 17.
Okay, we're not gonna use it all, I think we'll have that.
so you wanna do flags or you wanna do certificates of appreciation? Something like that?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I think a certificate signed by the mayor is something a little bit nice. And framed and stuff like that, so whatever it costs those.
Let's set a flag.
Yeah, I'll
$75.
Well,
Less.
either way, he can
Yeah.
find out the price.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna find out I'll find out the pricing for
We going to put some money in there now, and then we can adjust it later, just so we get it in there.
Yes, we know we need 7,000 for the t-shirts. We know we need $1,000 for the, that, so
It's more than $7,000, it's probably about,
Will
call it
it be-
8,000.
8,000?
Yep.
So let's say for those things, it's gonna be about $500.
I think we have about 30 sponsors, and they're probably gonna be $15 each.
Yeah, I know, so.
Those?
Or-
Those will be $15.
Come with the mat and everything.
$8,500 for seed money. For the 5K.
Tell them not to worry about it, I'm gonna raise $50,000 net,
Well,
not worry.
So you say 50.
I know you will, but the budget office doesn't really do, don't worry about it, you know?
I don't really care.
So I'm gonna do the justification of the comment as
Yes,
seed funding for the
Veterans 5K run,
town 5K.
which should be reimbursed by,
Which-
will be
By proceeds.
reimbursed by proceeds from the 5K. So it's just an advance.
It's just an advance.
For any necessary expenses are covered, like marketing. and sort of-
Do you want to add to that, that we're gonna have 50,000 in sponsorship dollars, we're gonna have 700 runners with $15,000 in revenue, so our net proceeds were 40,000.
No, they know we're good for it. We've had profitable runs for several years in a row. Okay, so those two changes,
Care package. The $500 one, the flowers and. Sorry, flowers and flags for the seas.
yeah,
It's
I think, we should keep that.
That's.
Yeah.
At that same number.
So I'm just looking at any additions,
Discretionary
There's no-
fund, is there a discretionary fund?
Well, I have to do,
Mr. Peterman had suggested he thought that was a good idea. We didn't do it, or we thought we had, but somehow.
It's
Can we do it this time?
a discretionary fund.
The chairperson has the ability to buy flowers for somebody who's deceased or is a baby.
Was there an issue with that? at the end?
Well,
That was an issue.
There was an issue with that,
Yes.
and
It
we
didn't-
cannot ask to be specific.
It has to be a line item that has to be specific for permit. I've never heard of a discretionary fund being.
Yeah,
It's any federal
It's called a
government.
slush fund.
we've
Yeah.
been cutting down.
Yeah.
on
They're not
discretionary
they're not
funds.
normally
Like we, again, we have to be like super specific
It's
about.
gotta
Yeah.
fall
I
within
mean,
there, what they consider.
You got every single government has to comply with the Anti-Deficiency
I
Act.
think.
And the Anti-Deficiency Act requires purpose, time, and place for all funding.
Right, but these funds, they need funds there.
They have to have a specific purpose.
Okay, so how much did we ask for the 5?
It was 85.
8,500.
But really quickly to Michael's point, that came out of like issues from, reimbursement for coffee, the discretionary was meant to cover, I mean, that was kind of it actually, the reimbursements.
And
But that-
flowers.
And flowers, but that's why we want to make sure,
Well, I was here,
US
and it didn't meet
flags.
with our vision of the committee.
right, but I'm saying, the to cover the, just in case for the coffee for an event, let's add money to that event.
But Mike, wait, Mike.
We want
Exactly.
to
But we're
avoid.
talking about unforeseen expenses.
Right, I know.
That was we need to set up,
Right.
or whatever you want, we need to have some money set
Well,
aside for that.
I don't know that,
I'm trying to tell you
I
guys,
don't know that we can justify unforeseen circumstances.
I'm trying to tell you
Is my-
guys
is
that
my only pardon.
federal fiscal law,
Not me
every
personally.
state fiscal law requires compliance with the Anti-Deficiency Act. I live this,
So where we-
and you have to have specific purpose, time, and amount.
Well,
It has to be expended within the fiscal year. It has to be for a specified purpose. It cannot be a discretionary slush fund
Well, we could just call it what it is, we say,
Yeah.
flowers.
or whatever.
flags.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can
Families
see
of
it,
veterans.
I can see it
If it's
clarifying.
for a certain event, absolutely.
I can see if the.
The video.
But he stopped.
We can see about clarifying in the comments what care package means.
This is gonna be.
Right now, it just says,
Part of the.
flower and flags for the. I think the understanding of that up to now has been, in the committee.
Well, flowers and flags for the deceased is pretty easy. Flag will be a shadow box for the family of deceased. And the flowers will be for the.
But is that all? Because, it's something we wanted to cover flowers for committee members whose families members have passed, how specific do we want to get, is my thing.
In essence, what we spent that money last year, when it wasn't reimbursed because it's that exceeds what we feel was, the purpose of that fund, which was, what we argued was the purpose of the fund, so.
But if,
Okay.
if what we can do is like cover our, what's, let's do that instead of. Cause if I really can't, I don't think I'll be able to pull.
So
getting
flowers and
a-
flags for deceased veterans and their family members.
Well, we sent flowers to Manny Sid when his kid was born. Ed has a child coming up in a couple of weeks, and we just.
Congratulatory.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to say,
offerings.
from a fiscal point of view, it's gonna be out of pocket.
I don't think that was,
It's
yeah,
out of pocket.
it would be an out of. it
So
would-
then we should agree that.
This is not, the tax money is not our money to use. How
As the chairperson, you buy it, and then we just reimburse it.
If you want.
Yeah, in my opinion, it should be, the niceness and the sincerity of, a group of residents.
It's like we used to have a
friends
coffee, we
coming
used to have a
together.
coffee mess and plaque fund and.
I don't think we can justify that
Yeah, that'd be,
with town monies.
but then you end up running out of time because somebody.
There's,
born or
what you
died.
said makes sense. What you said makes sense.
Yeah, please.
Obviously, a lot of things.
Okay.
That's on us. But that's on us.
No, it has nothing to do with
We
the
gotta
committee.
put that together.
Okay, but again, I will have it as,
Like at the beginning of the year, we all throw in $100 and then he uses that to buy flowers and without having to come to us.
well, not Kate, this would be like kind of like on our own.
Are we like?
Yes, exactly
We're not
right.
electronic.
Exactly right.
That'll be,
That was
listen, as a
Strike that from the record.
as a friend of me, if something happened to me, if you wanted to personally, give me flowers, like. You wouldn't have to worry about going through a town budget, that's.
No, I mean, that's not an appropriate use of town.
So, but since we've established that, 500 still, and the comment I have is flowers and flags for deceased veterans and their family members.
That's right.
That's
good.
That's
That's good.
awesome.
Did you say flags?
Flags and flowers.
That was another thing. We have older members of the community that want to hang a flag up and they don't have a flag. We ended up buying 3, 4 of those and they're not expensive.
We have access to people who donate flags, so I think.
But I still think that'd be nice to put in though, because it clarifies how the
Yeah.
veterans committee can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's benefiting the town.
It saves us time. It saves us time.
Request.
It saves us
No, they
time.
contact and then they reach out. "Hey,
Half time we walk around, we see really tattered flags and it's like knock on the door and I just change.
One other thing, I don't know whether we do this, or not. We thought, we talked about before, it's a good idea having some sort of business card. When you're going out fundraising, whatever, like Judy's out there calling people, a card showing who she is. Whether, something, whether I have the barcode thing on it or.
Right.
Wasn't that shot down anymore?
It was shot down, but let's bring it up again.
Which thing was it?
Yeah, say that again.
It makes sense.
Say it
Say
again?
it again.
Some sort of card, some sort of identification,
Oh,
so that when you go around, even an identification card, so when you go around collecting money for various events, that you can identify who you are.
how many QR codes?
We
I
went
don't
through
know that, I don't know that we. could
What happened,
pull it.
Michael? What happened with you guys?
Yeah.
And I don't know if a lot of back and forth, we posed the business cards for everybody. A couple of members of the committee had them made. just to save the town the expense
Yeah.
of doing so. And then received, a letter from the attorney saying that you can't
Cease
do
and
that.
desist.
Yeah.
That the town would support it, and then it went through committee. 6 months later, they came back and said, no, we're not gonna fund it.
All right.
You can make it your own, just you can't have any logos on it.
Well, there you go, then it won't be your own.
So-
Okay, so that answers that question.
QR code.
Yeah.
He's got a QR code.
But like when you're recording sponsors, I don't see a problem with you like saying I'm Larry Gorman, but
No,
that's not necessarily, I know.
We have a sponsorship package. I know.
Yeah,
one of them. I
when
was-
you-
like,
Yeah,
I'm-
I walked in the stores and they thought I was selling stuff. Got dressed up, I put a tie on, I was Jehovah's Witness. You gotta have.
Next time, wear your Miami Lakes Veterans Committee shirt.
I did, that's what.
Right, that
Or
works.
something like that.
But, I don't wanna readdress an issue that was already killed, because, I figure I only have so much goodwill, and I don't wanna charge ramparts and be shot in the face.
So we just make, if you want a card, you just make, it's out of pocket, it's a
Yeah,
cost.
and it has
It's a cost
no-
of serving the town.
No emblem,
Pick our battle.
all right,
Well, sorry.
anything else?
500 flowers for deceased and flights for residents. I did specify that because I think that's a good point to make. 0 at dedication ceremony, that's memo, not sure what that is, but it's been unfunded, so we're okay with that being unfunded again.
Yes.
Which one was
It says, dedication ceremony, that's memo. I'm assuming it's Memorial War, but
No, nothing.
Yeah, leave it unfunded.
we're unfunded because we have our Memorial Day event, flag retiring ceremony, that also has been unfunded.
That's fine.
$0. Memorial Day event, we're putting
1,000.
1,000.
And you already have the budget conversation for that one.
Oh,
Patriot Day or 9/11 and Veterans Parade, both were events that had zero money and were events that needed to have money because we ended up paying out of pocket for those two.
It's not even on our line item.
There's nothing. That's why Mike is.
Was that, would that have been maybe a creation of a line item? Or?
We have to add those as line item.
Well-
Patriots Day and Veterans Parade.
But wait. Isn't there an issue with the veterans?
It was.
Yes.
And now it's been moved to us?
Well,
No,
I'm
no,
not
no,
sure.
no, no.
It was,
Yeah, we
the
were-
town funded it,
The town funds 6,000.
7,000.
Well.
But, and then they obligated
Yeah.
8,000 of that 7,000 before we got to do it.
Yeah, and you actually was short away with.
Can we ask for money? Can we ask for money? I mean, last year.
Yeah, right,
American
exactly.
Legion paid for the float. They got the contributors.
Like
they
the
paid
fluff
for
money,
everything.
like how the cultural affairs.
Can we have the, ask the town money for the float this year?
But has
Right, I was-
that been, I'm sorry, Jonathan, has the Veterans Parade expense been brought
Yeah,
over
that's-
to us?
No,
now?
that's,
Still the town?
we ate that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, when it was told.
It was told,
We were
and,
told that
Yeah.
it is. But do we need to ask for it this year then?
no, but this
No.
is where I get to the fluff money, where, cultural affairs says they're 4th of July, but they don't pay for the fireworks. We pay for the fireworks, they pay for,
We ask money for the float?
Yeah, we have a
Well,
lot of expense.
First step, ladies and gentlemen, is we have to have a line item.
we need a line item. and then
So how do we get a line item approved?
That's just, you guys have to vote on having a line item.
All right, so let's vote right now
On
on
the line
adding a
item.
line item for the Patriots Day.
Right.
Ceremony. Is there a motion? Someone wanna
I
make
make
a
a
motion?
motion, we create a line item for Patriots Day, i.e. 9/11.
I second.
All right, seconded by Judy. All those in favor say aye. Okay. Now, is there a motion for a line item to create the Veterans Parade?
Motion.
And motions, Gary second.
That's okay.
No, it's Veterans Parade.
All
It
expenses.
could be flow, it could be,
All those in
coffee
favor
or-
say aye.
Aye.
Okay, both motions
And
carried.
that was Gary and Ed.
Gary,
And Gary.
Sandwich boards.
all right, so now we requested a line item be added.
Okay, sorry,
Next step,
really quickly.
9/11. 9/11.
I added that at the bottom for my, I guess, create line item request. That's going to be, we'll talk about that at the end.
I really think before we,
Or do you want to?
unless things have changed dramatically from when I used. to. Okay. Don't we need the comptroller or someone to approve the additional line item?
No, yeah, you guys are
before
just gonna.
Before we start even talking about what we wanted it? Like,
So
should we
before-
table
before
this
you talk
until,
about it, I don't know, there's no tabling though, because it has. all
We have to
the
submit a
stuff
budget.
is 831.
okay, so here's our proposal for a budget for those line items, if and when they're approved.
Right, so.
Okay, what do you propose for Patriots Day? We had flags, we have the same folks, the minimum thing is we have the same thing as Memorial Day event, at least 1,000.
Yeah.
Plus the flags. How much were those?
And he donated it, right? Is that right?
What, the flag?
Donated the little flag?
Yeah, the
If I-
pharmaceutical company.
Yeah. Donated.
Yeah.
But we had the expense of the boxes because we didn't have any money assigned. Nobody, they said we can't buy them. We had to,
But each year, they need to replace
We
some.
need new boxes,
Because
one
of
that
that-
fit the flag, the boxes we have are the wrong boxes.
well,
Don't fit the flag.
hey, you did a great job. He was working on.
You did good, you did good.
He did that.
Okay, so let me just throw out an amount. So since it's about the same expenses as Memorial Day, but we have extra flag issues, we have a bunch of little ones. Memorial Day, we have 1,000 allocated. I recommend 1,500. Does anyone want to make a motion? to
Don't know how
recommend
long pharmaceutical company is gonna be.
Yeah, but that's what we got right now because
Yeah.
they may decide not to, and then we change the budget for next fiscal year. Yeah, so I recommend 1,500
Sounds good.
going on. Okay,
Oh, we need to vote on it.
yes. Motion.
So you made a motion, 1,500, I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Um,
Okay, 1,500. Hey, for Patriots Day. Or was that Patriots? Day?
That
Yeah,
was
that was
Patriots
Patriots Day. For the Veterans Parade. I don't even know where to start as far as the budget. Oh, we had what? They already had,
Sandwich board, parking lot.
well, no, I'm not asking you for stuff. I'm saying, what did they use last year? What was the amount for last year?
I don't know the exact line item that it was put up, it was internally, and the only line items that I know about are yours and economic development, so those are the only ones access. So let's think about, maybe we might have to, or we as a committee might have to think about it, because that's the bluff, that's, making sure it's very visible, but we can change the size.
Well, here's my recommendation, Jonathan, is you take a look at what the line item was for that event last year, or whatever they put it in there and add $1,000.
Was the total expenses rather.
Yeah, total expenses.
Let's talk about the float for a minute. We put the float in. and
All right,
I-
let's start that.
We should.
Yeah.
And the benefit, of course, of that is all the veterans that can't, we didn't even touch, there's a lot of guys in wheelchairs, can't walk, they're elderly, whatever, and it gives them a chance to be in the parade.
And it was one float enough, because it kind of cranked on that one before, where we need to.
Yeah, it's
Now we have
25.
Two floats. And I didn't know if they can float, and we'll have to do better. Is that okay, Gary?
Yeah, we had 25 people.
Well, you know, I can tell you that,
Yeah, rather than having them walk,
Yeah.
Around.
And we'll put the word out to the disabled veterans and people and veterans that can't walk. We want them to be there and we gotta. Wait for 'em.
I just don't know, because I have to find a number, and you want me to add how much?
1,000.
Okay.
That doesn't cover.
But I don't want
I have a
the discretion of deciding, okay, maybe they should cover that, maybe that we should cover that, like. Cause then it gets weird, like. In my opinion, a stage. That's like part of the grant, so that maybe that is in the committee, maybe you guys feel differently, which,
But we were trapped last year because we didn't really have a budget. The town had a budget, and then when we said we wanted to do things, we told them we can't because you have no money. And had we assigned that money at the beginning, it would have been a non-issue, but we were told we couldn't. So the question is, this year, are we supposed to be coming up with a budget to support this event by ourselves? Or is it the
Not
same
by-
relationship
I don't
as
think-
last year?
Not by ourselves.
I don't think by ourselves.
But we should have some monies.
Right, the same way as cultural affairs.
Okay, so I just say, let's go with
So
that.
what's cultural affairs budget?
I know.
What was that? What was the swag number?
Can we put 4,000?
Flag,
No, but
flag,
I think we should put a number in, and if it gets approved, if we need more, we can move, but.
Well, let's figure into that number, $4,000 per float.
without-
okay, so let's make it,
But with everything else too.
Well, that the float and decorations go on. It's-
Remember, because
Last year, we started, wait a minute, if I remember right, we started out with like $8,000.
8,000.
And the $8,000
already
was,
spent.
we were already obligated at $9,000 when we started planning. And, so we're probably talking somewhere around $12,000.
At least, yeah.
okay, there you go. That's our number, $12,000.
I like that better than me. Maybe it's-
Not better.
Let's say about 15 would be better. Because it was 9,000 just for the sound, and then you throw in two of those things.
And we had some things out, we,
Oh, yeah, and the shirts, that was another $1,000.
Like, I'm thinking town, we should.
You better
we have to
bump it
take
up.
care of,
Bump it up.
well, we have a contract.
15
Police,
grand.
Police, fencing.
Police are expensive.
The signs for the cars.
They're worth every penny.
They are.
And then you're carrying a flag for
So I'm gonna carry over the same description for.
Yeah, Jonathan, make it 15, make it 15.
15 money for any speaker
All right.
rentals.
We, that should be in our minutes that we voted for.
Yeah, we have. to
Yeah, I
move
know,
on.
we gotta move, anybody make
Who's
a
making the motion?
motion for
Judy?
15?
Larry made the motion, yeah. Larry seconded, Larry
Second.
seconded.
All those in
made it?
favor of 15?
I did.
Aye.
Motion.
Okay, so
Any
again,
other issues, Jonathan, on the budget?
I'm just gonna go down again, I'm sorry.
She's good with it.
Hold on, let's let Jonathan summarize, please.
To the chair.
That out of the darkness is to be fine.
Right, well,
Thank you,
I'll get
Gary.
that. So Marlins field trip. That's been unfunded.
We
We
pay
don't do that.
tuition to the budget.
Now there'd be a fair adjustment.
I don't think we find it. Items.
Hey, Jonathan, do you want me to read what I've got in the minutes? So
At the end, at the end.
Okay.
Also,
All right, what else? What else?
Zero
Go
for
on.
Marlins field trip. 0 for Out of the Darkness. We okay with that?
Yes,
Okay. 0 for photo contest.
yes,
Purchase of tree with plaque, that's been $2,000. That's Arbor Day Sports.
yes.
We're okay with $2,000. Yes. Veterans Committee shirts. That has been on.
No, they paid for it, so.
It's done. We don't need it again. We're good.
You don't have the shirt? Yeah,
Never
we
got
have shirts. We have shirts.
I got the
You gotta
one,
talk
like,
to the chair.
the one with the,
The old one.
apostrophe.
The other one.
the possessive, I'm
The
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
I got the bag of shirts.
I know, I need to make them large.
Got
Okay,
it.
so, but for now, I guess 0 for that, or do we?
What about hats? What about hats for the parade? Veterans.
What about
committee
that?
hats?
Huh?
Veterans committee hats.
Look, I'm trying to get us to have epaulets on our shirts,
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
Oh, my
Let's worry
God.
about- let's worry about
Being around.
Epaulets and a sash. So
Right,
that's
there you
before the hats. Moving right along.
Shirts. We want to put money towards that.
Yeah.
Yes,
No, wait, which veterans parade shirts?
No, I'm talking.
Committee
I'm talking
shirts.
committee shirts.
Yeah.
yeah, let's put 500.
It was eight.
That was,
One.
That's 30.
Yeah, it costs us like close to 90.
That's because we replaced all
But,
of
but the town buys new shirts every year, so it's an expected expense.
Oh, really? Then make it 871. There you go. There you go. Keep the same.
I'll
They
give you
they
the
cost.
What else, Jonathan? What else?
Paid about 40.
That's sure
That's
yours.
it.
That's all.
That's it?
Look at his shirt with you.
So,
Okay,
I'm gonna quickly run down it.
yeah, let's run it down.
I'm gonna, how much for the shirt?
Same as last year.
It was 0 last year.
871. The actual.
We want to say
That's
1,000?
an old one. You have an old one on.
Yeah, well, what he's gonna fly about?
Yeah, I
Put
bought
it
this
on
myself.
No, 1,000.
1,000.
Oh, that's
1,000.
Okay, I'm gonna run through it and maybe you guys want to do a motion as.
Yeah, I want to get a fancy flag.
Okay, 0 for the main, don't worry about that one. 8,500 as the seed fund for veterans 5K.
Okay.
Yes,
500 for the care package still.
yes,
0 for the dedication ceremony,
Yes.
0 for the flag retirement ceremony. 1,000 for the Memorial Day event,
yes,
0 for the Memorial Honor Fund. 0 for the Marlins field trip, excuse me. 12,500 again for the military tribute banner,
yes.
0 for Out of the Darkness, 0 for photo contest, 2,000 for the purchase of trees. 1,000 for the Veterans Committee shirts, and then these are the 2 new line items, the Veterans Day parade, sort of again, the bluff, 15,000. And 1,500 for Patriots Day.
Sounds good.
That is great.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion.
I would make a motion that we accept those numbers as stated in the budget.
And then
Okay,
second-
then I don't have to do all these.
Judy?
When does this have to be finalized? Could there be?
Judy seconds the motion. Let's vote. All those in favor of the motion? Pardon me, Jonathan.
Sorry.
All those in favor of the motion, vote. Say aye. All right. Anything
Who was
else?
the second?
Judy.
Duty motion.
Is there a chance to change?
If
that?
you guys want to change it, it would have to go through a special call.
All right.
Which we're.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Any announcements?
Any
I
announcements?
second.
Oh, you have something? No, that's okay, go ahead. Yeah, what is
What
it?
is It better be damn important.
By the way,
No, go on.
Bill,
It better be earth shattering.
Bill, the special needs committee has, the special needs registry program.
Actually, that is important. Thank you.
It's been around, right, and
this is what we were waiting for, was this flyer that I'm giving out because of the QR code. Very important, we were talking about, how to expand the registry and, PTSD and that type of stuff came up. Initially, the program was for mostly, anyone with a special need, might it be physical or mental. The PTSD is also something that would fall into the category of the program, because with the program, when the person signs up, or usually, and in this case, I would say the person would sign up themselves, but normally somebody else signs them up, right? Because like we have kids with autism and their parents sign them up. But the main thing is when 911 is called, in dispatch is advised what the person has and a way of helping them out before special response actually makes it out to the call.
This registry will integrate into that, into the emergency system?
It's already integrated.
Oh,
It's
wow,
done
that's
already.
great.
Yes.
Right, and I think they presented to police, it's presented to elderly affairs, they're in other special populations. So I guess we're just trying to bring everything.
Yeah,
together,
broaden it out.
Or even changing the name. So
Yeah, to a program, not a registry. Registry has
Not special.
some negative
needs,
connotations
Yeah.
and associated with, right, and it's not.
I think I'll have to double check, I think it may still be special needs, I think the registry part has changed.
Yeah,
Because
but the
registry can
registry
be,
sounds like.
You know, a list of people, it's kind of.
Yeah, just
Some
a
people might
program.
not, it might not be as
Program.
attractive, how much is the
Yeah.
program? If you have special needs or requirements, you have to deal with it, it's important for them to know, so.
Well, no, thank you very much for bringing this.
Yeah, that's
I think it's
great.
an incredible
Really good.
program, and I think anytime police officers can respond and have more information, more intel as to what they're going into, it leads to much better results on both sides. And that's a fantastic program, and then we'll bring it up to the Legion members as well.
It's only for the town of Miami Lakes, it's the only problem that we're having. Because we get so many people from like Hialeah or unincorporated, oh yeah, I'd love to be part of it, but it's only in the town.
But you know, what just occurred to me is maybe instead of, well, we just, we have to get going, but special consideration registry rather than special needs. Because when you say somebody's special needs, kind of labeling, oh yeah, I got a kid, one of my kids is special needs. And kind of letting everybody know you got, but a special consideration, people wouldn't have the hesitation to sign up. with, because
It
they're
makes
like,
it
hey,
broader.
yeah, I'm not
Right,
special
more
needs, you know,
broad,
I just
yeah,
have, I have some special considerations, that's all. you know,
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe-
I get kind of freaked out by lights.
Maybe you could.
That's a good
If you
recommendation.
wanted, if you wanted to make a public comment for special needs.
Yeah.
The committee. the board
I'll
would be-
go over, yeah.
Yeah, you can bring it up. That's a
Bring it up
good
to
idea. I mean, they can say, they can shoot it down, but it's a good idea.
And it's evolved because again, initially it's special needs registry mostly for like, even though for the elderly, but mostly for younger population with the special needs.
Yeah, right.
I think the reason it says special needs is because it's the special needs advisory board.
Right, that's
Yeah.
what it-
Well,
that's
we're
what it-
talking about the special needs kids specifically.
No, that's what you're talking.
Kids.
That's how.
But now it's expanded to include
Yeah, right.
elderly.
And they're in the process of trying to change the name in order to be more inclusive.
Yeah.
That sounds
Or
good.
a couple.
All right, thank you very much. Do you have anything else, sir? Appreciate you being here. Always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
For the readers of the Memorial Day,
Yes.
we get service caps for each one.
Oh, wow, thanks. Are they gonna fit
So we
their
don't have
heads?
to worry.
Let's talk about this afterwards. All right,
Yeah.
there's a motion to adjourn. Anyone seconds the motion?
We did.
All those in favor say aye. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
8:21.
Thank you for the post today.
I apologize that the meeting took this long.
We don't want to.
It was really good.
Yeah, Richard, about yours, you're, Richard, about you.
Oh, I had enough cakes, no, take that.